gentlemen, welcome back to the Casuals Podcast. I am your co-host Chance. Sitting with me is Cade.
Good evening.
Yeah, a lot to go over this week in the sports world. One thing that we didn't cover last week that I really want to cover today is the NBA. There's a lot that happened this week. A lot of fraud talk, a lot of future GOAT talk. There's just a lot going on, especially on X, regarding literally everything.
Everything.
Especially considering, like, for example, Victor Wembanyama's first two performances. He put up double digits, but I feel like there's a lot of things happening on the court that can't really be quantified, as well as points, rebounds, assists, that were just incredibly impactful to the game that people weren't realizing.
Absolutely.
But all of those things were just shut down after last night's performance. The 2-0 sweep against the Suns. Dude literally made Kevin Durant look like a middle schooler, which is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I'm a Katie hater, so I enjoyed that one. So that was nice. Thank you.
I'm a Katie hater for the fact that I grew up in high school. I was a pretty big Thunder fan because I lived an hour and a half from Chesapeake at the time. What's it called now? It's not Chesapeake anymore, is it?
Is it not Oklahoma City?
I don't really know. But Chesapeake Arena, whatever it is. I grew up an hour and a half, and I always went to at least like 3-4 Thunder home games a year. And I was just like, those were my ride or dies. Nick Collison, Serge Ibaka, Kendrick Perkins, the goats. And then all of a sudden, I wake up one day during the summer to see that KD turned to the dark side and went to the Warriors. So ever since then, I've just been the biggest KD hater of all time. He's fun to watch, though.
He's a pretty good scorer.
He's a great scorer. But Victor Wembanyama, 38 points, 10 boards, 2 blocks against the Suns last night. That is the third most points by a rookie in Spurs franchise. Number 1, David Robinson. Number 2, David Robinson. Number 4, number 5, also David Robinson. I don't think there's any surprises there. Might have seen like Tim up there somewhere. I'm sure he's in the top 10. That was insane.
Oh, yeah.
There were plays where I don't know if you saw that alley-oop or where he went under the basket and still was able to dunk. Yeah. Dude's literally playing like Wilt from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Like he's can't miss basketball right now.
Absolutely.
What was your favorite thing that you saw from Victor in his breakout performance, if you will, against the Suns? Game 2 against the Suns.
I think dude is frightening to cover. Like,
absolutely.
It's absolutely horrifying. Like, dude is just so long. And, like, he's a menace. He's a literal menace. Like, pulling up his moves, dribbling skills are on point. It's insane.
He dribbles like a
I love it. I absolutely love it. He's insane. I'm a fan, though.
Yeah, I saw a crazy tweet from Clutch Point saying when he's on the floor, the Spurs have a defensive rating of 105.2. When he's off the floor, they have a defensive rating of 129.1, which is the worst rating in NBA history. The NBA's been around for a long time. That's absolutely insane. Listen to another crazy stat, by the way. He's defended 35 shots that players did attempt. And keep in mind, there's not a lot of people brave enough to pull up in front of Victor Wembanyama.
I would not.
Because his wingspan's about as tall as he is. Taller than he is, I'm sure. Yeah. Taller. He's like 8 foot at least, right?
Probably on the wing, yeah.
15 attempts out of those 35 were threes. Mm-hmm. One of those went in. 20 were 2-pointers. 6 of those went in. That's literally unreal to think about. He is at this point. I think he's can't miss basketball. If you can't watch the game, you have to watch the highlights.
For sure.
It's so entertaining.
For sure. I love the hype. He was worth it too. Preseason was like a little weird because that first game he was like, what was it? Single digits, or was it like 12 points or something like that? Everybody's like, he's a bust.
I think everyone expected him to just drop 40, but you have to keep in mind, what did he play in Australia? Was it like Mets 96 or something like that? I don't remember the country.
Yeah.
Forgive me, I don't remember the country, but I've heard other rookies say that come over from overseas say that it's just like the mentality and the toughness of NBA players is like, it's unreal. Like one player said that they're like playing like they have something to lose. So I think it's going to be a tough adjustment for everyone.
Oh, for sure.
All of like the high-profile rookies going into the season. Yeah. But I think if any of them are going to have the quickest turnaround rate, it's going to be Wemby.
It's going to be
absolutely.
He's got to be the front runner for Rookie of the Year, like without a doubt. I don't think there's any competition right now, and there never will be. I don't think.
No, not a shot. Not a
It's
shot.
already a lock.
There hasn't been as much hype around a player like this
In a very long time.
since a McDonald's All-American named LeBron James.
Yeah, it's insane.
On the other hand,
Yeah.
of rookie performances, I for one was incredibly surprised to see how Scoot Henderson's performed up until this point. Hold on. The AI pictures that I've seen on X it's so out of pocket. It's so the ones I sent you to are just so out of pocket. He had a really rough debut against the Sixers. He only shot 29% from the field. He went 0 for 6 from 3. But on the bright side for him,
Not a good.
even though it's minimal, his shooting percentage has gone up across the first 4 games of the season.
Right.
But it did take him 11 attempts across 3 games to hit his first NBA three-pointer.
It's a long season, thank God. But yeah, that's a rough stretch for the kid. I
I wouldn't want to be him for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's incredibly talented. He's super athletic. He played really well in the G League, obviously, or he wouldn't have been moved up at the spot that he was, obviously.
Yeah.
But, I feel like you're only given so much wiggle room as a high draft pick, as a high prospect going into your first season
Agreed.
in the NBA. And so I'm really hoping for his sake, his highlights were fun. Like, he's such a fun player to watch when he's scoring.
The name is awesome.
Scoot Henderson is the coolest nickname I've ever seen.
Freaking name.
Yeah, he shot 33% against Toronto and 40% against Detroit, which, like I said, they're compounding. They're getting a little better each time. He also had 7 assists in the last 2 games too.
Playmaker.
Exactly.
The scoring isn't there right now, but
Right.
it'll come.
You know,
Give it a little bit of time. I think it'll come. But yeah.
Watching the first 2 games, I was like, what am I watching?
This guy.
Because the problem there too, he wasn't moving the ball. He had no other anything on the stat line besides just miss after miss after miss.
For sure.
So waiting for his breakout game. That's for sure.
I think it'll come soon. I don't want to down on the kid too much, but I think it'll come soon.
Right.
But yeah, let him get in the groove though. He'll get a heat check. He'll get a heat check soon.
I think so. It's going to be really easy for anyone. Anyone can have a podcast. Anyone can turn a camera on and turn on a mic. But I feel like it's pretty much like everyone's going to be calling him a fraud. I mean, it's really easy to do that. Talk about how much he sucks. But
the way the media is today, for sure. But again, he's young. He's got plenty of time. He's got a long season. So
81 games.
Yeah.
81 games. Only 4 have happened, so he's got time to figure it out. He's got time to get adjusted, but not too much time because he will lose his starting spot very fast, very quickly. It'll go like that. How about the Celtics and the Pacers, bro?
So I found out about the score when I got into work the other day. It was really funny, and I was like, a double take. 150? Hey, 150? And then so it was like, I don't know what to say. That's insane.
155.
It's insane.
The second most in franchise history.
It's crazy.
The only team to score more.
Yeah.
The 1958-1959 Boston Celtics with Bill Russell and Bob Cousy.
In the old Garden.
In the old Garden.
When the Lakers were in Minneapolis.
LA Lakers. LAL did not exist. The Clippers did not exist.
Right.
None of the players currently playing in the NBA existed. They weren't even a thought. So that's insane. And at that point, Bill Russell was playing against like janitors and 5th grade teachers. So this is so unreal. But hey, the Minneapolis Lakers put up like 137 in the game too. So it wasn't a blowout, but it was a similar performance to this game.
Right.
They are firing on all cylinders. It is insane to watch.
That was nuts. I looked at the stat sheet. 35% from the 3, 40% from the 3. Like, come on, man. That's nuts to me.
Was it all 5 starters had double digits?
All 5 starters had double digits, including 3 on the bench as well.
Yeah, like TJ McConnell.
Yeah, and Peyton Pritchard had 18.
That crazy cash out on Peyton Pritchard for
nuts.
Like $50 for 50,000. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Who's betting on Peyton Pritchard?
Someone knew something that we didn't, obviously. Yes, they're currently the favorites to win the finals at this point of the season. I mean, we're only 4 or 5 games in, depending on who you are. They're listed at plus 370 on FanDuel, plus 380 on DraftKings, and plus 400 on BetMGM. It's kind of hard to bet against them at this point. especially to win the East.
Yeah.
With how especially with how the Bucks are performing on the defensive end of the ball.
Yeah.
But going into the season, they were co-favorites with the Bucks, both listed at 400.
Right.
I think it's going to take a little bit for Damian Lillard to get adjusted to a new system because
that first game though was like it was tough.
It was nuts.
But then the second game came and it was like, wait, calm down a little.
Part of it too is he was traded really late in the offseason.
He was
really late. He had
a little
no
bit of
time
time to adapt. It's a rough switch for sure.
Jason Tatum is just shooting especially well from the floor. Jaylen Brown is averaging, I think he's averaging about 20, 22 a game.
Had to be.
Just playing really well all around the board.
Right.
The team is playing really good defense. I made a note somewhere, I can't find it now, but
so with Boston being like the only undefeated team in the East now that the Bucks have lost, obviously Celtics are favored to win all of it. Do you see Tatum getting his first one?
I think if there's any squad, especially that he could do with, it would absolutely be this one. I think
That's a good point.
Drew Holiday to the Celtics was
a huge move.
Absolutely underrated pickup.
Right.
Drew Holiday across his many seasons, I think he was drafted in like 2008. He's averaged a really incredible defensive
He's had
rating.
1 year. He's one of the best defensive players.
I think one of his best
in
years was like 108, like a 108 defensive rating. He's put up, an incredible number scoring wise this year so far.
Yeah.
Across his career, he's averaged 22.5 points, but he's averaging 29.8 this season.
That's crazy.
So he's really not missing. He's shooting 56% from the floor.
He's doing it on both sides.
And the thing about the Celtics too, as compared to the Bucks, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have been doing this for like 7 years.
Right.
They've been put together for a long time.
Yeah. It's hard to believe. It really doesn't seem like that, but like they're getting up there now. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's especially because in the NBA, it's like in comparison to the NFL, they get drafted so young.
Yeah.
Like 18, 19.
I feel like I just watched Tatum at Duke like 4 years ago or 3 years ago or something.
Exactly.
7 is insane.
I feel like we're dating ourselves too. Like, man, when did I get old?
What are we?
Yeah. To go back to your question, I think it's absolutely plausible. I think they're clear favorites for a reason. Al Horford has always been a really great starting center. He's awesome. A really well-rounded player.
I've loved him ever since he was in ATL. He's been awesome.
Yeah, you needed someone besides Tice down there, though.
Right.
You needed someone else to kind of manage the paint and be able to kick out to the wing and knock down shots, and that's Kristaps, and they finally have it.
They do.
And he's playing incredibly well, too.
I love Kristaps in Boston. He's played really well. Surprisingly, honestly, I'm kind of impressed. But
I'm very impressed. I think it's just a testament to the right team, right system.
Yeah, that might be, I was about to say, it might be like a coach's thing. Like they might have like got him like where he wanted to be or whatever. So yeah, definitely an effect.
Yeah, I think you can definitely blame coaching in New York when he got drafted. He was still really fun to play with in 2K.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's insane.
Jason Tatum keeps playing the way he plays, though. He absolutely can not only win a finals, but he can win an MVP as well. He's playing incredible. Like you said, for Scoot Henderson, it's a really long season.
Yeah.
It's a really long season. I hope they can stay healthy for one, and I hope that they can keep playing the way that they play. Because I think the fans, all want to see a Celtics Nuggets final. Again, I think that would be so fun.
That's one of the things.
Revenge tour.
It's like one of the things in the NBA. You won't get upset about the same teams being over and over again because like these guys hold grudges. Like they don't they hate losing to like whatever. Like last year, Tatum needs one. He's been there way too many times to leave empty-handed. Like he's done it with Golden State when they went that 1 year and they lost 5 games? Was it 6? I forget. But
he's like Stephon Diggs of the NBA.
He needs one. Watching the confetti fall.
He definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
The way he plays, he definitely deserves it. He's an incredible player, stand-up person. They're a great team. Yeah. And I think the only team in the East right now that's equipped to stop them is going to be a Bucks team that's actually playing good defense.
I'm excited for the series.
Yeah, the thing is though, right now, you saw it with the game that they got blown out.
Right.
When they're missing, they're screwed. They can't play defense.
Oh yeah.
They can't play defense.
You saw it the other night.
Exactly.
89 points and they got blown out by it was Utah.
Yes.
It was Utah. 89 points on Utah is a little shitty.
When you're getting blown out by the Jazz, it's a problem. It's a problem.
Let's go. Yeah.
And like I said, he got brought into Milwaukee really late in the offseason. It's going to take him some time to get adjusted to the system. I love Giannis being like, this is his team.
Yeah.
Bro, obviously it's not. Obviously,
It's not now.
it's not.
Not now.
I mean, whatever you need to say to make him feel welcome, but you're literally called Greek Freak for a reason.
Yeah.
You guys can co-favorite, co-captain the team.
Right.
But they just need to play better on the defensive end of the ball because I think it's the reality of it is it's true when people say defense wins championships.
I mean, you don't want to mean it bad, but like Giannis hasn't really played with anybody like Dame. Like, I mean, no offense to Chris Middleton, guys like him was spot up shooter. He was awesome, but again, he's not Dame. Like it's not the same. So he's got to get used to having like that second star on his team.
Right. I think there's a reason why they got Dame specifically because there is no one else like him.
They did need that extra person, I believe.
Exactly.
Sure. Whether
the only
it was
person
off the bench or was it like a starting lineup, they needed that person for sure.
The only person you can really compare to Damian Lillard is like a prime John Wall or like a prime D Rose,
it's
like a point guard that
yeah.
takes over the game like that. Because as you see with other teams, it's
that's who Dame is.
Exactly.
That's exactly who he is.
It's typically like a shooting guard or small forward, but like a point guard who's that guy. Like it's Dame time. Like when he's firing, bro, it's insane to see.
He's like one of the coolest players to watch. Like when he's like on a heater, like it's insane. Like he doesn't miss, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. For now, the Bucks are frauds. And
until further notice,
when they start playing really good basketball, by the next episode, they are so bad at that point. But
they'll
for
probably
now,
be favorites next week. Yeah.
But for now, they're frauds. When the Celtics drop their first game, and then they become fraudulent, then we'll have that conversation then. But congrats to the Celtics and Celtics fans. You guys deserve this for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You're really used to having a really good team that just does not win championships at this point.
Yeah, it's hard to get their hopes up. I kind of feel bad a little bit.
Obviously, I'm not talking about franchise history, just the ones who are still alive.
History is there, but like current, like y'all gotta get something.
You gotta get something going, and I think this season it's definitely time. How about the West though?
West is going crazy right now. West is actually buzzing.
The Kings are 2-2. They could very easily be 4-0. This is just the NBA. That's the NBA for you.
It is.
I'll sit here and cry about missed fouls, missed travels, but you're gonna find those in every game.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you could have made 2 more baskets.
Right. DeMontis could have not missed every free throw he shot that game.
Right.
We could have had D-Fox in the game.
Yeah.
But it happens.
Completely different story for that, by the way.
Right.
I mean, yeah. With them losing by 1 point, without Fox,
Splash Brothers are still them. They're the Splash Brothers for a reason. They're getting older, but they're still Klay Thompson, Steph Curry.
Oh yeah.
They still have
for sure.
How many rings?
Yeah.
I mean, they're incredible players. Hate them.
I seen Draymond in an interview. He was talking on I think it was First Take or something. He was like saying like how there was he fired shots last year because of probably Jordan Poole probably. He was like there was no chemistry on this team last year or whatever. Like we hated each other or whatever. But it's like now it's like coming into practice. It's like everybody's got a smile on their face. And like when a team like is together like that, like the Warriors, that's dangerous because that's one team that you don't want to be like.
Especially a team with Steph and Curry.
That's what I mean. That's once they're connected and
birthday twin
up here. That's
March 14th. Birthday twin. Me and Steph Curry. And Einstein.
Congrats.
So when you question my sports takes again, just remember I have a shared birthday with Einstein. Not as smart as Einstein, but maybe
you know more ball than Einstein.
I know more about basketball and football than Einstein. I can say that confidently. Do I know more about anything else than Einstein? Absolutely not. Einstein dead has more brain cells in his brain than I do. I think one team that no one expected to be where they are, obviously we're only 4 or 5 games in the season, but the Dallas Mavericks, they're 4-0.
That's crazy.
Luka is literally playing 2K.
Luka's out of his mind right now.
He's literally playing 2K right now. He's averaging 33.8 points a game. And they played 2 games without Kyrie, and they're still 4-0. And one thing I noticed watching the first 2 games with Kyrie and Luka playing together, they're sharing the ball really well.
Yeah, they're good. They're a good duo. As much as I wouldn't expect to see that, they are. They really are. Because like Kyrie's known as like that diva guy, whatever, the selfish one, whatever you want to call him. There's a bunch
gotta find my piece.
There's a different like argument, whatever for him, whatever. But yeah, them 2 together is a little bit surprising. But I mean, I root for it, I guess. I mean, I love Luka. I'm a Luka guy. I love him. But
I've always been Luka.
Yeah.
Always been a Luka guy. He's so fun to watch play.
sure.
It's literally his play style is my play style in 2K.
Yeah.
Like he literally shoots shots that I would shoot in 2K with Luka himself. So like the first 2 games, especially, the Kyrie was not shooting well from 3.
Yeah.
At all.
It was a little bit cold. Yeah.
At all, but still, they managed to not only win games, but win most of them comfortably.
Right.
And the thing with Kyrie too that people forget sometimes is when he's not shooting, he's driving, and no one could put English on a basketball like Kyrie Irving.
He brings I wasn't alive back then, but it's just a glimpse of Dr. J, the jelly is what everybody used to call it. It still is, but I don't care. But it's he's got that juice.
I remember when I played AAU basketball, I couldn't jump very high because I was short and fat, but I could shoot really well and I was big, so I always got added to the team.
Yeah.
Sometimes I may start a game, but I did play a lot. Wasn't the starter, but I played a lot, right?
6 man.
I mirrored my game around Kyrie, because when you're playing AAU, I can basically assume that everyone I'm guarding is taller than me.
Right.
And so when I'm driving to the basket, I'm like, all right, obviously I'm not going over you, so I need to learn how to go under
you. Yeah.
And so I learned the flip.
Yep.
Because what was the story with Kyrie? He grew up shooting on a broken backboard, so
Right.
that's why I learned how to do all of that. And who would have known how well that would serve him in his career?
It's insane. He's unreal. He's one of the best finishers in this league, despite his size. It's crazy. It's tough to guard.
When there's no outside
Very tough to
noise,
guard.
when there's no drama, he's insane.
Yeah.
He's an insane player
Yes.
to guard. He's insane to play against. They're potentially a sleeper team in the West. I don't think anybody had them ranked highly going into the season.
Yeah, that was another thing. They weren't favored in any way, shape, or form.
It's hard to
at
be
all.
favored in a conference that has Jokic and the Nuggets.
It is, but it's also hard to whenever you have Luka. So
Yeah.
game changer for.
Like I said, Kyrie was out last 2 games. He has a foot sprain.
Yeah.
They're not missing him right now with the way he's playing.
They're doing fine.
As we're talking right now, the Mavs are playing the Nuggets. I have not looked at any scores. We're just looking at the scripts we wrote for our episode. I would not be surprised to see them take down the Nuggets tonight. The Nuggets obviously are going to be favored going into every single game they play this year.
Yeah.
They are absolutely the most complete team in basketball. There's a reason they won the NBA Finals last year.
Right.
Jamal Murray is a dog. They build him differently in Lexington.
He is.
They just do.
He is.
And apparently they build him differently in Serbia because that man is insane. The way he just walks around the court like he's like he was sleepwalking, literally just splash. He's insane.
I don't know what to say about Jokic. He's a freak. He's actually a freak.
I think the thing about him too is all of the players that you would consider to be best of all time, best at the time currently in the NBA, they all have a certain build, right? Like that shooter build, muscular, typically shooting guard, small forwards. He does not look like a basketball player, besides the fact that he's huge. But he doesn't care. He's got no ego. This is literally his 9 to 5.
He's a great personality. I love his personality. His interviews are amazing.
When he's talking about Chet Holmgren, he's like, he needs to get a little
You need
fat.
to be a little more fat.
It's just
his
so
accent. His
funny,
accent makes
bro.
it more funny.
Yeah, one of my best friends, someone we talk to a lot, Quentin, is a huge Nuggets fan.
Mhm.
And I love getting in a party and watching basketball with him because all the times he's just bro, it just looks so easy for him.
Yeah.
It's just so fun to
Right.
watch. He's insane. They have a stacked team. They really do. Aaron
They are.
Gordon, incredible defender. Incredible pickup by them a few years ago.
They could easily repeat this year. Who knows?
It's a dynasty for sure.
Who knows?
They're building a dynasty in
They
their
are.
heart.
They are.
And that's one thing about the West you'll see with the West versus the East coming back in the All-Star game. I don't think it's gonna be even close, bro. I think it's gonna be bad. But you have a starting 4 of probably what?
It's gonna be fun.
Dame, Giannis, Jalen, Jason. I think that's probably going to be your
Pretty
starting
much.
4. Maybe Kristaps
much.
at center. So Celtics Bucks versus the West.
Yeah.
Is that what we're probably looking at?
Probably.
Going back to the Eastern Conference for a second, though, because I forgot to make this comparison or ask this question because I think it's important to ask at this point in the season. Celtics are 4-0.
Right.
Bucks are 2-2.
Right.
What are you currently seeing in the Celtics that you're not seeing in the Bucks?
Offense. I think. I mean, again, like the Celtics have been consistent. Like that's the one thing. They're shooting lights out. Period. Like they're tough to like. They're a tough team to guard. They're a tough team to defend. I don't know. Dame is. I mean, obviously Dame had a rough second game. Maybe you can ask Giannis to do a little more. I guess I don't know, but
That's what he's done for the past several years.
It's just gonna be like, I don't know. I think it's gonna be like a defensive thing for the Bucks. I think more than anything. I mean, we'll see. Again, like we've always said so far, long season. Some people are going to fall into a slump. The Bucks might be in their slump right now. They might explode out of nowhere.
I mean, if there's any time to be in a slump, it would be the beginning of the season.
For sure, I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know you said offense because obviously you have to score to win.
Yeah.
But
you've also got to hold them under 155.
I'm glad that you went back and said defense too, because I think that's the biggest thing right now is the Bucks have the second worst defensive rating in the league at this point in the season,
right,
at 119. Second to only the Pacers, who just let the Celtics drop 155 on their head.
Yeah.
Then the Celtics have the fifth best defensive rating in the league. So not only are they putting up astronomical points, but they're playing incredible defense.
Right.
The Celtics are averaging 12 more points a game than the Bucks. They're just a better team. They're more well-rounded. They may not be at the end of the season.
Right.
That's what's so fun about the NBA. It's the same thing. That's why I want to get into hockey too, is because it's such a long season. There's so much that can happen.
Yeah.
There's so many storylines that can build.
I'm like a late bloomer when it comes to like hockey and NBA because it's just like, oh, it's getting serious now? Like, okay, let me tune in now. Beginning of the season, it's like, yeah, NBA's back, hockey's back. Let's tune in. All right, now it's fast forward 4 months, 5 months down the road, and everything's already changed. It's just like,
yeah, it's like when I was growing up, I felt like you had your key scorers and your GOATs or your legends, but it was just a really physical league.
Yeah.
Like really big body guys like Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace. And then now, it's just like my players out there just putting up astronomical scoring numbers, playing insane, like dribbling the ball well.
You have 7'4" between the legs, cross tweet, hash behind the back.
I still can't comprehend how big he is. I think we're gonna have to. We're in Cincinnati, right? We're gonna have to go to a Pacers game whenever the Spurs come to
watch
Indiana.
How bad they are, or like
whenever the Spurs come to Indiana. We're gonna have to go just so we can conceptualize how large this human being is.
I'm gonna tell my kid like, yeah, I saw Wemby.
You're lying.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
I guarantee you nosebleeds will be like crazy expensive.
Just because it's Wemby.
Just because it's Wemby. The same thing with like, LeBron when he was about to hit the scoring record. Yeah. It's a novelty and it's like historic. Saying you went to a Victor Wembanyama game in his rookie season, it's probably gonna be something to behold. We can cover this real quick, but I don't want to talk too much about it because I think, things going on off the court are important. Obviously, it affects the way the teams play.
For sure.
It just like annoys the hell out of me when that's all that's on my feed.
Yeah.
James Harden going to Los Angeles, joining Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Russell Westbrook on Westbrook. It sounded like I said Westbrook, I swear to God. I did not mean it.
Oh, you didn't mean to say that?
I swear to God.
Oh, wow.
I am a glazer for Russell Westbrook, bro. He's the most loyal human being, and I love watching him have fun playing basketball again.
When he's good.
I love that man.
Yeah.
That's when he's having fun. It's when he's playing well. Right. It's good to see him having fun, dancing on the bench before the game.
Yamming.
I love him when he's high. He's so high energy. When he's playing well, he's really exciting to watch. But going back, James Harden.
Diva. That's the best way you can put it.
Do you actually think that, I'm asking you legitimately, I'm not just posing this as a rhetorical question, do you actually think that this is going to be a great fit? Do you think that this is what the Clippers needed to be able to win a ring? Because you saw the odds shifted dramatically.
If I'm being completely honest, I don't understand it. You can, like, the names are big, sure.
Would work on 2K.
Yeah, but like maybe in 2014, Paul George isn't the same. Westbrook isn't the same. He can't even hit a rim right now. That's all I've seen in my clips. Westbrook for 3. Whoosh.
You catch him on a fast break throw, bro.
Yeah, but it's just like I don't see it. I'll be a hater. I don't care. I don't see it. I really don't.
Keep in mind.
Yeah.
The Clippers got James Harden, PJ Tucker, and Philip Petrusev.
Ooh.
Here's what the Sixers got. Robert Covington, Rocco back in Philly. They're excited about that.
I love that.
Nick Batum, bro's been moved around so many times. His wife had to post an Instagram around it, being like, "We literally just bought like our third house in 2 years. Please stop trading my husband. Please stop trading my husband." Marcus Morris, KJ Martin, unprotected 2028 first round pick, 2 second-round picks, first round pick from the Thunder, and a first round pick swap.
Yeah. If I'm Philly, I'm dancing right now.
The Clippers have given away all of their first and second round picks up until like 2029. There may be like one or two exceptions to that. I may be a little wrong on the math.
Either way.
But from what I was looking at before, they've given away so many picks. If they do not win right now, they're cooked for like the next decade.
Yeah.
They're gonna lose all 40 fans that they have in Los Angeles.
What are we, the big three? Like Westbrook, Harden, and Paul George are going to be gone probably within, I would say, like that tenure.
Paul George, 33. Hold on.
Westbrook's up there probably as well, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, I've been watching him since like 8th grade, so he has to be getting up there.
He's probably as old as Paul.
Russell Westbrook, 34.
Okay, older.
James Harden, 34.
Same age.
Kawhi, probably getting up there as well.
Oh, for sure. He's probably the oldest of them.
32, he's the youngest.
Really? Whoa!
I mean, he's looked like the oldest since he was a rookie, though.
That's true. Wow.
A little bit of a fun fact for you here on the Casuals podcast.
Interesting.
For their sake, I hope that they bring a chip to Los Angeles for the Clippers.
They're gonna be done if they don't. Like
Paul George is playing incredible though.
He is.
He's hardly missing anything.
Yeah.
He's just like Luka in the sense that when you know he's hot and he just throws it up, it's like cash.
Right.
I saw it in Oklahoma City until playoff P.
Right.
Then it was all downhill from there. But that's the year that he hurt himself.
Yeah.
And after that Carmelo left. Russell stayed, I think, for maybe one more season, and then he left, went to Houston.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what it is.
I think this isn't a hot take. I think most people don't expect this to work out.
Right.
I think it's going to be another situation where you see a really good regular season record.
Yeah.
But those are four ball dominant players on the same team. If you were to ask the head coach of the Clippers right now, who's your number one guy?
That's exactly. Who's getting the ball on this? Who's getting the ball on that? They're gonna have to.
After today, we know James Harden can't be implemented into a system. He literally said, "I am the system."
He is the system. Yeah.
That's like in Fallout when I choose the worst dialogue option on purpose just to see what they say back. It's like, I am the team.
Fail.
I can't be put on the team. Do not pass the ball to anyone else.
It's like the minus sign in the top right. It's like
Lost karma. Yeah, they're going to be fun to watch. There's going to be a lot of games this season that hit the over, obviously. It's going to be really exciting to watch as a fan of neither LA team. Hopefully the Lakers can pick things up. I think that it's not going to be to any thanks to Darvin Ham. Right? How are you going to restrict Lego James minutes? How are you going to tell the man to play under 30 minutes? You saw when he's on the floor, he doesn't look like it's year 21. He's still playing really well. Really well.
38.
Really well.
Yeah.
If Anthony
Just go.
I almost said Anthony Distance. If Anthony Davis can stay healthy, maybe potentially there is hope that they could go the distance and make it deep into the playoffs.
But he's got to play well and again, stay healthy.
See, I had distance on the mind. Just put the cart before the horse. I, for one, am super hyped to watch this NBA in-season tournament. I think it's a really cool idea.
Different, yeah.
I think it's a really cool idea. Just to give a brief breakdown, I'll just read it off and fire off for people who are watching this, especially for instance, our friends who are supporting us that have no idea what an NBA in-season tournament is.
Yeah.
I'll just list off what the format is, how it works, and what they're playing for. Each team has been randomly grouped within a 5-team group in their conference. Each team will play 4 games, 2 at home, 2 on the road. The team with the best record in their group will move on to the knockout stage, as well as 2 wild card teams. I love that concept.
That'd be cool. That'd be very cool.
That'd be really sick. Especially, there's going to be a couple games that are like 1 or 2 point differences, right?
It'd be exciting.
I think that's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
The knockout stage, once you get past group play, is single elimination. Right. And so, if you make it out of group stage, you have a good shot of winning this in-season tournament. You're not playing a 7-game series.
Right, yeah.
Best team from the East and West, obviously, will play the final game. They play for a prize pool and a new trophy called the NBA Cup. Haven't seen what the trophy looks like. Hopefully it's pretty sick.
I will say that the courts, have you seen the court designs?
I have.
Oh my god.
I was a little disappointed by Sacramento's.
I didn't see ours.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed by Sacramento's a little bit.
Fast.
But it's kind of just too color blocky for me.
Yeah.
I like the Nuggets though. They threw those digits right in the middle of the screen.
The Bulls are red. Court is nice. Indiana's is actually clean. I'm not gonna lie. It sucks that there's only gonna be like 1,000 people there to watch it. That's pretty clean.
Hey, put some respect on Indiana though. They may lose. They may lose out of the tournament. There's a really real chance that happens. Yeah. But they will show up. They will show up. There's not much else to do in Indianapolis besides go support the Pacers or the Colts. So they have a pretty
it's like pick your poison.
They have a consistent fan base at least. You got to give them that. Tyrese Halliburton's really fun to watch, but that's about it. 3-pointers of Tyrese. He pretty much all you got at this point. We can kind of list off here the group stages. You know who is playing who. I have some predictions for that. I don't know if you've gotten your predictions together. I'm pretty sure you can.
Today, but we're looking at the bracket and the group.
I was like, I'm pretty sure you can formulate your picks.
It's very easy. Like once you look at the
pretty
groups.
Easily.
Yeah.
So we'll just go by group. East A. It's East A, East B, East C, and then we have West A, West B, West C.
Right.
East A. Atlanta Hawks, Cleveland Cavaliers, Detroit Pistons, Indiana Pacers. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? And last but not least, we got the Philadelphia 76ers. Out of these 5 teams, who do you think would be the one to make it out of this group?
Make it out is going to be Philly, but I think the one that's going to scare a little bit of people is probably Cleveland or Atlanta.
I was going to say, I think that the Hawks might silently win this group. My pick for this group, obviously, is Philly. Tyrese Maxey is playing incredible basketball. Yeah. He's like front runner, if not front runner, like 2 or 3 to win Most Improved Player at this point in the season. Yeah. He's played super well. I think that all that he needed was for James Harden to get out.
Kentucky boy.
Go Cats. That one's for my Papaw. Go Big Blue. East B, we got the Charlotte Hornets, Miami Heat. Speaking of the Heat, though, that's been bad.
That's brutal.
That's been a really disappointing start to the season. 1-5.
The ref on the effort. I didn't watch the game, but a lot of people were questioning some of those missed calls in that. I think it was the Bucks game. No, it was the Celtics game. It was a Celtics game. People were questioning that. That was brutal. Yeah. I watched it.
One of my boys, Raul, is a huge Heat fan. Yeah. Bro, I'm so sorry. I love Jimmy Butler. I love Tyler Hero. They got something to figure out.
Right.
Charlotte Hornets, Miami Heat, Milwaukee Bucks, New York Knicks, Washington Wizards. I think we can both agree on who's going to win this group. Yeah. Milwaukee.
Right. But, you got some contention.
Okay, we could say who we think our picks are, and then we could say who we think, secondary, who might come away with it, if not the favorite. My second team that I think could win this game, or win a game or two and come out the leaders of the group, would probably be the Knicks.
I would say so. I was going to say Knicks.
I think that Julius Randle has to start actually making shots for that to happen. Yeah. He can't put it all on Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett to score all the points. He's going to have to trend it up. He's playing well. He's playing well on defense. He's getting a lot of boards. Right. But he's got to start. If he's going to shoot, he's got to make them.
RJ's played very well this year too. Very well. He's improved already.
I remember there was a couple times last season where there was a huge conspiracy because, when calling our shot was like popping off and getting really popular, they were doing a ladder, and it always came down to RJ Barrett, and every single time he would under by like 1 or 2 points. But there was one game last season where there was 7 minutes left, and he had scored like 10 of the last 15 points, and then they took him out of the game. Didn't play a single minute for the rest of the game. 1 point on the under, and they lost. I was like, at that, I'm not a huge conspiracy guy, but I was like, all right,
He's
Who
It's
at
weird.
what sportsbook called
Sketchy.
the GM of the Knicks?
sketchy stuff.
Yeah, Group A, I think, obviously the Sixers,
Yeah.
weakest group by far. Group B, I got the Bucks. Group C, Celtics, Nets, Bulls, Magic, Raptors. With how much glazing we did on the Celtics earlier, I think it's pretty clear that we think they're going to win.
Yeah.
My sleeper team is definitely the Nets in that. So I got the Sixers, the Bucks, and the Celtics. My wild card team for the East. I didn't really get any clarification on what qualifies you for wild cards.
Yeah, it was
But
it's
I
hard
assume-
to explain, like hard to read.
I
and, like,
assume it's one
imagine.
East team, one West team.
The way that I read it, it sounded like that. I just don't want to put out false information.
Right.
And then yeah, so
We'll just assume it is for the sake of conversation. My
Right.
wild card team is the Brooklyn Nets.
okay.
Cam Thomas is a dog.
Yeah,
He's a good basketball player.
for sure.
He is good at playing basketball.
Right.
So I think if there's any team that might, pull up an upset, it's going to be them. Ben Simmons is playing really well as far as well-rounded basketball.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think he's embraced that he's not the leading scorer of his team and
Yeah.
plays a really important part of their offense, especially.
Which is okay.
That's cool.
It's perfectly
That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to be the number one guy. And if he stays healthy too, that's been a big part of his career
Right.
as
Yeah.
well,
Right.
going back to his time at LSU as well.
Right.
We'll go a little quicker with the West. The West A group is the Los Angeles Lakers, the Memphis Grizzlies, Phoenix. Sorry about that. Phoenix Suns, Portland Trail Blazers, and the Utah Jazz. My pick for this group is actually the Lakers
Yeah. Okay.
and not the Suns.
Okay.
My pick for this group is the Lakers and not the Suns. I feel
Suns have
like
been shaky.
not Beal. Yeah, they have been. They haven't had Beal all season.
Right.
Bucks sat a couple of games.
Yeah.
KD's played fine. He's played well.
Right.
He
Yeah,
had
like
to-
no offense to the Suns, it's just like they've been shaky because they don't have their guys.
Yeah, and
Once
by
they-
by
if they
getting
did.
Beal, getting KD last year,
Yeah.
you've had to give away a lot of depth. too.
Right.
So I think that plays a part of it.
When guys are out, yeah, it's kind of like one of those next
And the
man
fact
up.
that KD had to guard a duplex on the last two games was a little tough for him. So yeah, I got the Lakers. West B, we got Dallas Mavericks, Denver Nuggets, Houston Rockets, the Clippers, and the Pelicans. Who do you have for West B?
This one is a toss up. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to say it's Denver, but I don't know. Like sleeper, I think biggest sleeper in here is Dallas. As of right now, from like what we've seen so far, it's probably Dallas. Who will probably win it? It'll more than likely probably be Denver. Yeah, but like Pelicans, they've been solid. Obviously, Clippers just got Harden. Whatever you can, I don't know. Who knows what they're gonna do? Like Rockets are gonna rocket. But
I think between this group and West C is definitely the most fun to watch.
for sure.
Obviously, everyone at first glance is going to pick the Nuggets to win this group. I have picked the Nuggets to win this group.
Yeah.
I think that one of two things can happen.
Okay.
Either James Harden's going to join the Clippers on the floor, and they're just going to go crazy. Everyone's going to shoot well from the floor. There's going to be great ball movement, and they're just going to sweep. Or the exact opposite's going to happen.
Right.
And they're going to get blown. Pause. But I think the Mavericks are definitely a team that can steal this group, depending on how the game's going right now. I don't want to spoil it for myself.
Yeah.
We both work full-time jobs, so we can't record this during the day with plenty of time to record it, edit and post-production. So we're just going to pretend like the game's still not happened yet. And I like the Mavericks. I really like watching them play basketball. I like Tim Hardaway Jr. You know what I mean? I like these role players. Dwight Powell.
Yeah.
Dude named Dwight's going off in the paint. They're a fun team to watch. I think the Nuggets do take this one though.
Yeah.
West
It'll be
C,
a fun series. It'll be a fun, competitive, closer
For sure.
than people think series though.
I think the Rockets will play each team well too. I like Sengun a lot. I think he reminds me a lot of like Paul Gasol.
Yeah.
He's like a smaller, tinier Jokic in the sense that he likes to be, or not Jokic, I'm sorry, like Domas. But he likes to be the middle of the offense
Right.
and, dictate the plays and moves the
Be
ball.
that statue right there.
Yeah, just like dictate where the ball goes. So like when they're playing well, they're fun to watch too.
Jalen Green's exciting to
But,
watch as
you
well.
know,
So yeah.
They've got a really young team. In a few years,
Yeah.
they could be really solid.
Yeah.
Don't think they're one in the group though. Not a shot. Not a chance. West C, we got Golden State, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, Sacramento, like the beam, and we have Wemby and the Spurs. My pick to win this group is the Spurs, actually.
Chaos.
Spurs!
Chaos.
Wow, you're picking the Spurs after Wemby drops 38. Exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
Yes, he is.
What I'm assuming is that you're exactly right. Sometimes the answers are the most simple answers.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not that complex. I think that a lot of this tournament is going to be based on momentum and how they've played into this point.
Yeah.
I think the biggest toss-up for this tournament is going to be how serious that the teams take it.
Right.
Because you could see it like, preseason soccer tournaments. A lot of teams, they play like their third, fourth stringers, don't really care, don't take it seriously. I hope that this is taken like a mini finals, mini playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what the fans want.
Right.
And I think at this point, being the inaugural tournament, I think the teams will take it fairly serious. Because with Ohio State, we get to say that we were the first team to win the college football playoff. I think it would be cool as a franchise to be like, yo, we were the first team to win the in-season tournament.
Right.
West C, I think that the Spurs take it.
It's an interesting pick, but I mean...
4 out of the 5 teams could really take this.
Yeah.
I don't think that OKC has the depth to play 4 group teams and win the group themselves. They can absolutely be a wild card, but you have to consider that the wild card is probably all 3 groups combined in the conference.
Yep. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I think honestly, if I'm being honest, if I'm not being biased, it's between Golden State and San Antonio. Depends on when De'Aaron Fox comes back. He is literally the spark that lights the beam.
Yeah.
He is electric.
It'll be tough. I mean, as a fan, it's going to be tough. But we'll see what happens. I mean, we're going to root for him. I mean, they kept it close against Golden State, but I mean...
Regardless if he's here or not, though, Domantas Sabonis is playing incredible basketball.
Nuts.
He's played really well, has a really balanced stat line. He needs to shoot a little better from the free throw line, but he's also a center.
Right.
He's a center.
Yeah.
We're not going to forget
You'll
that.
have that.
Historically, they're not good at doing that.
Right.
But when you have De'Aaron Fox in the game and you have Kevin Huerter shooting well, Uncle Keith shooting well, Malik Monk coming off the bench and doing what he does and what he's done over the last season and a half.
They're tough.
Harrison Barnes leading the team in scoring.
As of
for now, which is great.
Still.
Love it.
HB is
I love it.
Crazy.
It could be anyone on the team.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
That just adds depth to the team.
Absolutely.
They're so fun to watch. I was the biggest hater of Mike Brown when he was at the Cavs. When he wasn't in Sacramento, I was like, what is this dude doing? This dude does not know how to coach. And then he gets into a system with a bunch of young players who actually believe in him and listen to him. Mm-hmm. No egos, no big name players at the time. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, great player. He has the accolades as far as
none of them are
his performance over his career has been consistent.
Right.
As far as accolades go, obviously they haven't won anything yet, but they really bought in and it showed.
Yeah.
It showed for sure. Mm-hmm. When I started watching the Kings, I'll be honest, I'm a really recent fan. I started watching Game 1 of last season. I was like, my whole family, it's this weird thing, which I'm learning is not just my family. It's Ohio State football and Kentucky basketball.
Yeah.
That's been like my whole family.
Same here. I mean, it's like you have a different college for football, you have a different college for basketball. Some people think that's weird. To me, it's like foreign. It's like, oh, wait, we can't do that? But like, I do it anyway.
I guess in your brain, it's like NFL, NBA, right?
Yeah.
But for me, like, I haven't been the biggest watcher of college basketball, like, post-high school.
Yeah.
I watch Kentucky a lot because my high school played Malik Monk twice a year.
Respectable. It's fine.
And I wanted to see him in college and see how he played. I'm an Ohio State basketball fan. Obviously, that's not a problem for someone who doesn't watch a lot of basketball in college.
That's fine.
I hope to educate myself and watch a lot more college basketball this year. It definitely is electric. And it's always fun knowing what kind of players you're getting into the league with the next draft class as well, instead of learning after the fact. So I think the winner of this tournament overall, I think it's going to be no surprise to anyone when the Celtics win.
For now. Yeah, I think they got to be the easy favorite for this.
Yeah, definitely the favorites, considering especially with how they've played.
Yeah, they're hot at the perfect time.
So good.
They are hot at the exact perfect time for this to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What I expect to see with like the Nuggets and with the Celtics, play really well through this tournament, and then they'll coast a little bit. They'll coast for a little bit afterwards. You know, you can't just play 110%, no all gas, no brakes for 81 games because that's, you know, it's just unrealistic. That's how people get hurt. People need to rest.
You gotta be careful because it's like in this tournament, like you just don't want to see anybody major. You know what I mean? Like I mean, Kings are obviously already without Fox. You don't want to see nobody like Curry or
Dog though came back in the game.
Yeah,
finished the game.
Yeah,
won the game.
It's just you don't want to see anybody like a big name like that guy kind of go down in a tournament like this. It's I mean that doesn't count. You know what I mean?
Right.
So. It'll be interesting.
I hope they treat it as it counts as a completely separate factor.
As a competitive standpoint, I think it'll be fun to watch.
I don't know for sure. I'm assuming it does, but if these games, these group games and knockout games, if they count towards the overall record,
they do.
Okay.
They do. And then like I heard like whoever is a wild card to get added 2 games in the regular season.
Right.
So yeah, that'll play an interesting factor, I think, in like postseason play.
Actually, excuse me, I think it's the teams that have the worst records.
Is it?
I don't know if it's in the groups or what. I think whoever has the worst record in
general
in the tournament, I think they get 2 games added on.
Oh, okay. Well then maybe I'm wrong on that.
You might be right on that. I may be wrong.
I do. Whatever it is, I know that somebody gets 2 added games, and that all I heard is that it's going to be interesting, whatever, in the postseason play on that final.
It'll be cool. I love seeing
stuff like this is awesome.
I love seeing new things.
Yeah,
being
for sure.
You know, I think there's traditions in sports that should not be messed with, certain rules that shouldn't be changed, but it's always cool to see them try new things. For instance, playing a 9 a.m. football game in Germany. How about that segue into the NFL, though?
What are we doing?
This isn't Jags Titans, bro. Like, why are we playing these 2 teams at this point? Halfway over the regular season is halfway over. This is the perfect time to have not the Bears and not the Steelers or the Titans in prime time. Like, can you consider this prime time? I guess on one hand you can, on one hand you don't, because they are the only team playing at that time, but at the same time, they're playing at 9:30 in the morning for the majority of the fans watching.
This is stupid. Why is it 9 a.m. people are still brushing their teeth? It's like, oh wait, football's on? It's like, oh, who's playing? Chiefs and the Dolphins? Like 2 most like electric teams in the league right now? It's like, what are we doing?
That's so funny you say that, actually.
So it's just, I don't know.
With these London games and this Germany game especially, my wife, she supports my obsession with sports, of course.
Yeah.
But she played sports. She doesn't watch sports really, especially football. She's not a violence kind of person. She doesn't even like watching violent movies.
Yeah.
So she doesn't care about football. She likes when we talk stats, but when we talk actual football, she's gone.
Yeah.
You're like, we're laying in bed Saturday before the NFL slate. I'm like, ooh, so-and-so played so-and-so at 9:30 in London. And she's like, what? She's like, there's football at 9:30? I already let you watch football all day. Graciously, I will add. We have like our morning routine of going to the grocery store, getting whatever we want to make for lunch. Usually like, you know, it's getting cold, like some kind of soup or chili.
Right.
Get coffee, hang out, watch a movie. No. Right when we wake up, right when I start the Chemex, football is
it's
on.
Going to NFL Network, yeah.
I'm not watching the Titans, babe. This is the Chiefs and the Dolphins.
Crazy. Potentially game of the year.
Potentially game
at 9:30.
On one hand, I'll try to be glass half full and glass half empty at the same time to bring a little bit of balance. I think the feedback I had for myself from the last episode is we gave hot takes that were informed and they weren't bad takes, but we absolutely provided no context whatsoever.
No.
We're just like, Josh Allen sucks at football, and that was the only context.
Everybody's like, oh, Kate's so dumb.
It wasn't like, he's played worse football than Dak Prescott this point in the season over this period of time.
I didn't say that, though. I just said it.
He's not. You said what you said because you're a Cowboys. Everybody was like, of course, the Cowgirls fan says that.
Yeah, like the comments for that. I get it. It's fine. But like, It's funny because like right after the pod, I was like talking to you guys. I was talking to my parents. I'm like, maybe I worded that a little bit too rough. 2 hours later, it goes up on TikTok.
I don't think. Okay, for one, I will say, I absolutely baited that because I want an interaction on a new TikTok profile.
Stuff happens.
We're a brand new podcast, bro.
Here's how many views I got
3,000
for the brand.
3,000 for an
Put it
account.
on for the brand.
3,000 for an account that has 12 followers, right? I know. That was on purpose. I purposely cut out the part where you said, "I'm gonna ruffle little feathers." I'm surprised you didn't say anything about that, but I left that out. The thing is, obviously, I disagree with you, but I stayed silent and didn't add any kind of discourse.
Because your face said everything.
I was like, but you raised a good point, and I think if you
Just for the season.
Right.
I didn't specify enough, but
Right.
yes, I was just talking about the season. I don't
Right.
believe.
right,
Whatever.
and I'm not gonna let myself get bullied by the internet. I did take down my Michael Penix clip though because I was just dead wrong. I was dead wrong. We can get into that later, but I'm gonna step back and I'll explain why. I'm not just letting user 1266745 tell me, I shouldn't have a podcast. I ruined my night. But I'll explain that when we get to college football. But for now, that was so funny.
Real.
That was so good.
Real.
That was so good. I told my dad, he was like, dude, that's badass. That is so funny. But I think, going back to what I was saying, this is going to be such a fun matchup. It's so awesome. Imagine being a little German boy.
Yeah.
You don't think you're ever going to be able to watch your Kansas City Chiefs. You don't even know where Kansas is. You never thought you're going to watch Patrick Mahomes in person. They're in Germany, bro. They're there.
Kansas City's in Missouri. And so kids over there, they're like,
But it's also in Kansas.
which one is it?
It's both.
I'm just kidding.
It's both.
I'm just kidding. But yeah.
If you didn't know that, because I actually told my wife that a year ago. She was like, "No, it's in Missouri." I was like, "No, it's actually both. It's literally,
It is.
it's literally. This is the line. It's like right here." Getting distracted, but
It is what it is.
it's really good for foreign fans that are really getting into American football. The sport
Yeah.
is growing.
Yeah.
Fans outside of the states are really enjoying the
They're
sport,
into it.
especially with where it's at right now.
They're into it.
So that's really cool for them. Two really high caliber teams could obviously, if I was British, if I lived in London, I was like, bro, if you bring another trash ass team over here, if you send the Panthers over here, if you send,
Like me and my Madden franchise when I'm like picking a relocation for a team and you pick London and you're
I'm
like,
not spending 75 pounds to watch the Panthers play the Cardinals. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That one,
55.
it's like that one guy over there. He's like, this guy is not from Duval. He's not from Duval. But it's good for the sport, especially with obviously Roger Goodell's made it very clear eventually there will be teams over there. They're just figuring out the logistics,
Right.
aka how can they make as much money as possible.
Pretty much.
Pretty
much.
We've noticed this far into the season with how many European games we've had, teams play different there.
They do.
They play very
I
different.
mean,
there.
you want to think it's like a jet lag issue.
It is.
I mean, you look at like just last week, Pat is coming off.
You Cowboys fans.
Dak, same thing.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one. Actually.
Pat coming off the flu game, rough flu game.
Not the same kind of flu game.
Dude's like this in IVs on Saturday night. And then
I'm like, bro, I know they're in your division, but you're playing the Broncos. Just take a week off. Just take a week off.
yeah, but coming into this week, you got jet lag. Maybe he is feeling a little bit under the weather still. You don't know. We haven't heard anything. I actually must say, as far as like news goes, you really haven't heard much on him.
That's probably on purpose.
Yeah, for sure. It's got to be. But it'd be interesting, like, on how these guys adapt.
I think part of it is jet lag, obviously.
Yeah.
I think we've seen, it's just a proven fact that whatever team gets there earlier in the week typically wins the game.
Plays better.
You have to think of it this way, athletes in general,
Mhm.
but football players especially,
Yeah.
are creatures of habit. They know from the moment they wake up
Routine.
what they're doing, what's going in their body, where they're going.
Yep.
They do the same thing every single day.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you go West Coast to East Coast, you know you have a practice field, You know where you're playing. You've been there before, more than likely. This is just a part of your job. This is just a part of the job.
Right.
We talked about it last week a little bit when I was talking about, Chuck Pagano when he was the head coach of the Colts going over to London. They had to do their walkthrough on Saturday in the hotel. When you experience things like that, it's gonna throw you off. Absolutely.
Right.
When you're playing a game that is essentially, I think it's 6, maybe 7 hours. Let me look it up. I don't want to sound like an idiot when I say this. How far ahead is Germany? I want to say 7.
Considering my girlfriend was just in Japan, it was like
Germany is
13.
5 hours.
Okay.
Japan is crazy.
It's like 13.
It's like we're waking up here, they're going to bed. But Germany is 5 hours away. Okay, so 9:30 in the morning in Germany would be 4:30 in the morning here.
Yeah.
So you're essentially playing football against professional athletes at 4:30 in the morning. You're gonna play a little differently. Even if you leave directly after your last game, it's still not going to be enough time to adjust fully, right? So I think that this game is going to be. I think there's going to be a lot more turnovers than people expect. I think that it's going to be a little more low scoring than most people expect. If this was a primetime game in the States, this might be 45-44.
We might get like that Rams Chiefs on that game 2018, whatever that was.
Right.
It would have been that all over again without a doubt.
Personally, I don't want to be that guy to be like, if this happens, then they're going to do this. But if it doesn't happen, then they're not.
Yeah.
If Patrick Mahomes is healthy, I think it's going to be a really close game.
Yeah.
I think that the Chiefs may edge out the Dolphins. My actual prediction, though, regardless if he's healthy or not, I think the Dolphins take this one. I think that Raheem Mostert is playing incredibly well in the backfield. You have Jalen Waddle. You have obviously the best receiver in the league at this point, Tyreek Hill. When you have them playing the way that they're playing and Tua actually having time to throw in the pocket, he has the best passer rating in the league.
For a reason.
Yeah. He's maybe undersized, but he's incredibly smart. He throws good passes.
Lefty's throwing dots.
I told you.
This guy.
My dots may be like 6 to 7 yards and not 45, but they're getting where I want them to go.
But we won the Pumpkin Bowl, so it doesn't matter.
We won the Pumpkin Bowl in Butler County, Ohio, against some 8th and 9th graders.
In New Miami.
We are elite athletes.
I have a hoodie that says Pumpkin Bowl Champions in peak lettering, screen printed. What do you have?
Yeah, I made hoodies that said the team.
You
jabroni? We were them. We were them. I felt like Travis Kelce in Kansas City after beating the Bengals. Know your role and go back to 7th grade math.
It's like me to my youth pastor in that game. He didn't play, but I'm just saying.
I remember at the time I was helping with the worship there because my mom's a pastor and I helped with the worship for a few months. And I don't remember how long at this point because it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But I remember this parent was like, "You're a little different when you're playing football." I'm like, sorry. I'm a little more aggressive. Sunday morning, I'm like, "It's so good to see you." Pumpkin Bowl, I was like, if you drop another ball, I will literally walk you off this field myself. I don't care if your mother's watching. But yeah. Anyways,
I think
the Dolphins win.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good.
You can go ahead.
You're good.
I think the Dolphins have been waiting for their statement win. They blow out the teams they're supposed to blow out, but they lose to the good teams. So I'm hoping, for their sake,
this will be the turnaround.
That this will be the turnaround. Right. In a stacked AFC, you have to start. You have to start winning those big games. So I think the Dolphins take this one. Give me your take.
I'm gonna go the opposite with you. Mahomes in big games is like no other. I know where it's at. I know the location. We can blame last week. I think he gets over it, and I think he gets juiced with whatever they're putting in that man on Saturday.
It meant a lot more for the Broncos to win than it did for the Chiefs to lose.
For sure. Yeah, it was like they were going to drop one eventually. I mean, obviously nobody really thought it was going to be them, but if anybody was going to be, they would have much rather it been them because they weren't playing full. It didn't look like it, at least. They didn't look so. But I have Kansas City in this one by 2 possessions, actually. I have it 27-17. I think it's a little bit, again, low scoring than what most people think. I think a lot of people are kind of shooting for this like 30-20 range, I think. Maybe some 40, I don't know. But yeah, 27-17 I think is like where this one's set at, and I believe that is also the under.
Potential?
Over under is set at 40 something, I believe. So I will also be taking that under.
I pretty much want to take the under on any foreign game at this point.
That too. That's another good point as
the
well.
The over-under is set at 51 currently. So
not to mention, Rhythm also has, my Rhythm model has the Chiefs -5 in this one. Chiefs are favored by 2. Rhythm has them at 5. 60.4% win probability with a 15% edge on this one. So
if you're looking for a safe bet, that's not too shabby.
Yeah, but I mean, like against the Dolphins though, it's just like 60%. That's high. That's a high percent to win by 5 at least. So I don't know if I'll take the spread. I might take a money line here, but
spreads have kind of been screwing me as of late. I think
bad beats everywhere, dude.
I have to look though. I have to see where we're at in the season.
Yeah.
This is the point in the season where the bad teams start beating the good teams.
Yeah.
So it's not the beginning of the season. It's not the end of the season. And it sucks because obviously hindsight's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I look back and I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
Of course the Broncos would win. Of course they would win pretty comfortably at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially with the Panthers beating the Texans. They had to win one eventually.
Yeah.
And it was going to be against a young Texans team, right?
Probably.
So I'm going to stay away from the spreads for a little bit.
It's understandable.
Nothing wrong with that, though. Nothing wrong with that. Rhythm is giving me exactly what they think will happen based on the numbers.
Yeah.
And that's the safest bet you can make. Sports are sports.
AI. Like, you can't get mad at it, but yeah.
Sports are sports. Anything can happen on any given weekday.
Right.
Maction, Sunday night football. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. That's a conversation for another day. I'm still mad.
It doesn't matter if it's a chemistry major kicking a game-winning field goal or if it's Patrick Mahomes beating the Dolphins, bro. It's sports. Anything can happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? It can be set at 75% win probability, and they can still not cover. You know what I mean? You never know. But yeah, I think the Dolphins win. You think the Chiefs win? I think this game's going to be pretty split.
It will.
As far as fan votes or however you gauge.
It's very 50-50 from what I've
on the sports books.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. I was going to say that. I imagine it's probably like somewhere between 45-55 or somewhere close to that.
I haven't looked at Pickett yet, but yeah.
It's like the Titans-Steelers game. It's like 80%.
There's
Titans.
Right. Yeah.
It was, but I think that's also the Will Levis effect, especially how he played last week. Thursday Night Football, man. First of all, prayers are with Treylon Burks and his family.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's something you never want to see.
Last player of their drive too. That was brutal to see.
No matter who you're playing against, even if it's if it's the team you hate the most out of 32 teams in the league,
you don't wish on anybody.
You never wish that on anybody. On a good note, though, according to separate reporters from local Titans reporters, Mike Vrabel himself, he said that he was alert and in control of his extremities going into the training room before he was even taken to the hospital.
Yeah, they said he was moving toes, I think, on the cart. So.
And you saw that he had the thumbs up as well.
It didn't look like it to some, but I don't think they mentioned it. But yeah, you definitely saw a little bit of what
he was trying to say something. I think to his teammates to show he's okay. Hopefully, hopefully it looks worse than it actually is for his sake. He's a competitor. He
very young guy.
He loves the game.
Yeah.
Very new. I know a lot more about Treylon Burks than I feel like a lot of people did going into the season because I grew up 30 minutes from Fayetteville. Mm-hmm. A lot of my friends are die-hard Hog fans.
He was a stud in Fayetteville.
They've been screaming his praises since day one.
He was insane.
Hopefully it's a quick recovery for him. Yeah. Hopefully he's able to come back this season. Yeah. But please, if you need to take longer, take as long as you need.
Yeah.
He has a long career ahead of him. So hopefully that's a quick and easy recovery for him. He may just need some time, to rest. Hopefully they're taking all the precautions that they can. But prayers out to him and his family. I'm sure it was hard to watch being one of the dropped ones. But Kenny Pickett, primetime Pickett, comeback king.
One score was insane.
7 fourth quarter comebacks in his 1.5 year long career. While the majority of those you're getting beaten on
By
every
one of
front.
them. Yep.
Every front. Yardage, rushing yards, passing yards. It's crazy. Dude, obviously, I'm gonna try my best to be unbiased when I'm speaking on things. It's very clear that I hate the Steelers. They're obnoxious. I hate the terrible towels. I hate the city of Pittsburgh. Other than the fact that I kind of like the Penguins, I think. So that's a little bit contradictory, but maybe it's just because I like to watch hockey now, and the only beanie that my wife has is a Pittsburgh Penguins beanie, so it just made the most sense.
Fine.
But
it's fine.
this felt, and maybe we're looking a little too much into it. This felt like it might be a turning point for the Steelers.
So Pittsburgh 5-3. How we don't know. I'll be real. Whatever. 790 yards allowed. The most allowed. Wait. Yeah, they've been outgained, not allowed.
You can just say it again. That's the one good thing about not being live.
Wait. That doesn't make sense allowed. Okay.
I think I saw what you saw.
So Pittsburgh has outgained the total.
They've been outgained in every game.
Yeah, that's what
You can even just say that if you want.
It's just more.
They've been
it's just
outgained.
more dramatic
Yeah,
if you say.
they've been outgained in every single game, and still are 5-3.
It's more dramatic that way. All right. So Pittsburgh being 5-3, we don't know why. We don't know how. But there is one thing that catches everybody's eye, if not just mine, because I don't think a lot of people have seen this, but they've been outgained a total of 790 yards. The only worst team to do that is Denver.
Man, I've been saying their name a lot tonight.
So, yeah, shout out Denver.
Accidentally catching strays. We don't need to.
Sorry,
it's just
you beat the Chiefs. Congratulations.
It's just numbers.
That's your Super Bowl. Whatever.
That's your Super Bowl.
But, again, they're 5-3. We don't know why. But, like, through those 8 games, they're the first team in NFL history to be outgained in every single one of those 8 games and finish with a winning record out of those 8.
It's so unreal.
Which is incredible to, like, hear out loud through somebody else, not like on. I didn't find that. That's not from ESPN.
I just seen that on X.
That's just that's just one of those things that you see from like a dude with 13.k followers or whatever.
Well, I'll tell you how they're 5-3.
So, by all means,
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett.
And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. We're just gonna keep that in there because that was funny. This happens when you hang panels and duct tape. Anyway.
It's my hard to say. Oh my god.
It's like the demons were coming through through 3 quarters, especially in the first half. You saw it last night.
Yeah.
He was overthrowing such easy passes.
Superman.
And we were texting about it, and I was like, is he just still not fully healthy?
Yeah.
Or is he just simply overthrowing these guys? Because he looked bad. But when the pressure is the highest, the crowd is the loudest, he just like kicks into a different gear. He has the second most fourth quarter comebacks since he came into the league, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but it's something close to that. He has 7 fourth quarter comebacks. This might be a turning point for the Steelers. I hope to God it's not as a Bengals fan, but as a football fan, it definitely makes it a whole lot more fun to watch.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Is this the Matt Canada effect? Does this give a whole new meaning to touch grass?
Well, because there's. It's like, it's so weird because some people think it's a Canada issue, and a lot of people think it's a Kenny Pickett issue. And after Thursday night, you're a little bit even almost because Kenny didn't play out of his mind. He had a bad game. It's like 160 yards, I think, is what it was, and then the 1 touchdown pass. I believe it was just 1.
Deontay Johnson needed that so bad.
First since 2021.
You know who the last person to throw a touchdown pass to Deontay Johnson was?
It was
Miami of Ohio legend, Ben Roethlisberger.
That's nuts.
It's crazy.
But I mean, he's had a rough stretch, so good for Deontay though. Good for Deontay.
We love to see that, especially as his fantasy managers. I am so sorry, by the way. I am so sorry. I told you to start Jordan Addison over Deontay Johnson. Hopefully, Jordan Addison plays even better than Deontay Johnson.
With Josh Dobbs, I don't know. Q, your boy better cook, man.
We can get into that a little bit. Just to segue for half a second. It's a very quarterback-friendly system in Minnesota. He doesn't have a lot of time to adjust to it. But also, I'm not sure if he's starting this week.
Oh.
I'm not for certain. It might be Jared Hall.
Oh, okay.
It might be Joshua Dobbs. I'm leaning more towards Jared Hall. I think I've seen that he's starting this
Interesting.
weekend.
I haven't seen anything on that. I haven't done.
I just assumed by
done
saying
research on
something,
that,
yada yada, haha, Mormon
that
joke.
Very
I'm like,
could
okay.
much so be right.
Mormon Vikings joke, that means probably their quarterback that went to BYU starting.
Yeah.
That's my assumption. But it's a good system for a quarterback, and I think that Jordan Addison, regardless of who he's playing with, if you're a new quarterback into a system, you're like, I'm just going to throw to the best receiver on the field right now. And with Justin Jefferson hurt, that's definitely him, so maybe.
As we're looking it up, talking about it right now, per Minnesota Vikings website, Vikings named Jared Hall starting QB at Atlanta. So, but it also just says it'll be active. So for all we know, it could be like a one half for both.
Yeah, give him a few snaps maybe.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, or it could be like, you want to get him involved for sure in that, but like, which I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Like, you can bench Jared, like you could be up, you could be down, you'll probably bench. What, you know what I mean? Vice versa.
I think all things considered, the Vikings are the team I'm rooting for the most.
Secretly, but yeah.
Rooting for the most this season. They finally figured it out.
Yeah.
Last year they were winning all their one-score games. This year they started to lose them all. And then they started to cook, and then on a drop back, you just watch his leg twitch, and you're like, no, dude.
But yeah, banned turf. It happened on grass. So you don't know what the issue is with that. That's another conversation.
It's another conversation. You can have a whole podcast on that.
You can have, you could talk for 2 hours.
There's jobs in the NFL being invented for this conversation.
It's nuts.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you.
Prayers, but yeah, you got a mini fan.
I'll end with this. School. I think that it's a combination of things with the Steelers. One thing that I'm like just so overseeing, and I understand why it needs to happen, is just cycling through coordinators every season, every other season. It happens on so many teams. Obviously, the Fire Canada chants happening outside of the capital of Pittsburgh, happening at a Penguins game. It's obviously hilarious. Like, it's hilarious.
It's become a meme.
Clearly.
It's become a meme.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But how cool would it be to see the most hated on offensive coordinator in a long time turn it all around and actually like lead them to like playoff contention? I don't think anybody anywhere other than the city of Pittsburgh would say that they could actually make like a Super Bowl run, but they could absolutely win the AFC North. They're undefeated in the AFC North right now. They absolutely could win the division. They could go on to win a playoff game, right? It just all depends. You have to start seeing these big playmakers that you've depended on. Yeah, you have to see these playmakers that you've depended on in the past, like Najee Harris and George Pickens, actually get involved in the offense.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so funny.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
So funny. George Pickens.
I am so sorry.
On the sideline, Deontay Johnson, like, backup receivers are dapping him up and, like, congratulating him, and he's just like...
Like, for context, this guy had Pickens over 40. Was it over 40 or 25?
25.
It was 25. Sorry, even worse.
It was the only leg on a 9-leg parlay that missed. I literally was the stat sheet yesterday. I was cooking up the craziest parlay that was like, this man over 40, this man over 3 receptions, everything hit in like the beginning of the third quarter.
It hit quick. Yeah.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rough night for George. You know, he didn't really get targeted a whole lot.
That touchdown pass got ruled incomplete too.
What are we doing? We're not in Athens anymore. You got to get both feet in the end zone.
Yeah.
Do those memes though when it's like the Grinch going, or Elf going up the elevator, and he's like George Pickens in the end zone. It's tough. Obviously, he's a dog. We know that. He's a very really good football player. But there was times where we were watching yesterday, they had a lot of quick passes to where Kenny Pickett would snap the ball and immediately turn to the opposite side of the field. One of my favorite moments in the fourth quarter, you had Deontay Johnson lined up on this side of the field for the majority of formations, right?
Yeah.
the one time that he turns his body and looks to the other side was a quick out route to Deontay Johnson on the other side of the field. I was like, bro, if I was George Pickens, I'd be pissed.
Meanwhile, today on his story,
dude, I saw that.
he posted something.
Did he like immediately delete it too?
Yeah. I don't know what the post said, but like in his story, he had a caption in the bottom right. It was like, "Free me."
Because I saw the Bleacher Report notification being like, George Pickens pops off and immediately deletes it and removes everything Steelers from his bio. It's like, bro, 2 days after the trade deadline is not the time to do this. But you are not James Harden.
He's just gonna be stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that if they can figure out how to incorporate both of them into their offense, I think that'll be good. Obviously, Deontay Johnson was injured, and so they really relied on him heavily.
They've been using him a ton now.
Yeah.
3 straight games now with like over, I believe it's 6 to 8 targets and in that range.
It was like 14 targets last week.
Yeah, it's in that
against
range.
The Jags. He had 14 targets, Deontay did. But they have to find a way to incorporate both of them into their offense. One good thing for football fans is, thank God, finally these last 2 Thursday night football games have been entertaining. They've been
despite
down
the teams,
to the wire.
Despite the teams, but yes.
They've been down to the wire. God knows there was 10 different factors on why the Bucs made a late game push. The face mask, the pass interference.
Still
so many different things happened.
Still heartbroken about that.
They were doing everything they could to not beat the spread.
Right.
By they, I mean the referees, not the Buccaneers. But it was a really fun game to watch. I think I saw a lot of things from Will Levis that I thought, and a lot of people thought.
He looked good.
Exactly, that's the thought.
Good. So
here's a stat for all of the Twitter analysts that talk about how he threw no touchdowns in a game-ending pick.
Yeah.
He dropped back 44 times. Can you guess how many times he was pressured on 44 dropbacks?
It's got to be in the 20s.
Wrong.
30s.
Yes. 34 times. He was sacked 4 times and hit a total of 7 times. He threw 22 for 39 for 262 yards, being pressured 34 out of the 44 times he dropped back to throw the ball. That's unreal. Obviously, he didn't throw a touchdown. Obviously, there were a lot of 3-and-outs and punts.
Yeah.
But a lot of that was a result of the offensive line literally not giving this man
They
a
collapsed.
My favorite thing that I saw from him, being a professional quarterback builder in Madden, this dude was not afraid to get hit. Like, he would stand in the pocket,
Bold, dude.
he would survey the field, and if he saw his target open, regardless if he was about to get leveled by TJ Watt or Highsmith, he would still throw the
out of his
ball.
hands. Yeah.
He would still throw the ball.
Dude is stepping up in the pocket to Cameron Hayward. It's like, what are you?
I'm not stepping up.
Yeah, bro.
Do you think it's the mayo?
Cameron.
Is it the mayo? Is that what's giving him that confidence to step in front of such a large human being and throw the ball?
No, but Levis looked really good though. I think he's the guy going forward. I think he is. I think that's the guy that you build around.
Absolutely.
Passing 44 times when you have Derrick Henry in your backfield.
Still having a touchdown on like 75 yards.
Yeah, you have to take that as like a compliment, like that you're doing something right. As if you're Will Levis. So.
I think Mike Vrabel, he's such a man's man of a coach.
I love Vrabel.
He was like, oh, they want to see if you're the quarterback of the future. Literally, go prove it.
He is awesome.
He's like, literally, just go prove it.
Vrabel is awesome.
One thing I really like about him too that Tannehill doesn't have. If you're a Titans fan, you have to be happy to see DeAndre Hopkins getting targeted on the field. Mm-hmm. You brought him there for a reason. Obviously, there was something you wanted to see from him.
Yeah, he wouldn't get like nothing.
He's still really good at playing football.
I don't think they realized that until like last week or when after those 3 games.
And I saw the stat that said he had 500 total passing yards exactly in his first 2 games.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, of course he threw 4 touchdowns in his debut.
Right.
I didn't realize he only threw for like 240 something yards in that win.
Yeah.
He didn't throw for like 400.
No.
Those passing yards are split really evenly between the 2 games.
Yeah.
And one thing that's not on the stat sheet that you have to think about, that might be the hardest place to play in the NFL, especially as a rookie.
Your first road test is in Pittsburgh. It's a little crazy.
Mike Tomlin is
a little crazy. If
not undefeated, close to undefeated against rookie quarterbacks.
Right. Yeah.
Yinzers are insane.
First down.
First down. They're nuts, bro. But it's tough. This is a hot take as a Bengals fan.
Yeah.
Obviously, I hate the Steelers, but it's not a vehement hate. I like their culture.
It's a respect.
I like their design.
Yeah.
I hate them, but I respect the hell out of them.
Yeah.
There isn't a team in our conference. There isn't a team in our conference that I hate more than the Browns.
Okay.
The Chiefs are a close second.
Yeah.
Then the third is the Steelers. But I hate Cleveland. I hate everything about Cleveland. Minus Myles Garrett. Everyone else could care less about them. Don't think about them. Color schemes are dog water. Quarterback, kind of a felon. Kind of a felon.
Time for the time being. Did you see his quote today when he was talking about? He said,
I know exactly what you're talking about. He said, "This is the most guilty I've ever felt."
Everybody's like, guilt.
And the first thing I said was, "That's the most guilty you've ever felt?"
Ever?
All things considered.
Dude, like
All
comedy on
things
scores.
considered. Regardless if you're innocent or not.
You're the reporter.
Regardless if you're innocent or not, the situation still happens. There is guilt to be had on either side of either side.
I almost cried in tears. It's just, like I saw that on Twitter for the first time today. I was like, "Oh my god, are you serious? He said that?" So
hate him a lot. Browns fans, I'm sorry. You'll say the same thing about the Bengals. I get it. That's why the rivalry is so fun to watch. We hate each other.
Yeah.
I will say, as much as I think you're a poverty franchise, you guys beat us every time. You have for a while,
They do.
and you
They
probably
do.
will continue to, no matter how good we look, because that's just the reality of the situation. But still waiting to see win in the playoffs without Baker Mayfield. So the GOAT, Cleveland Browns legend Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. Tim Wayne Brown I like. So
Yeah, but going back to the Steelers game, I think when you're Matt Canada, I think that's a really good move that the front office made, especially when everyone in the city wants you gone. Get on the field, be with the players, be with the staff.
Right.
I've never really liked the whole coordinators in the box thing.
Right.
It feels really separated. I love our DC sitting on the sideline, getting passionate, being with the players, slapping on the back of the helmet. They're just like a part of the whole process. They're a part of the game at that point.
Right.
You're literally just calling plays on a stat sheet or a call sheet on Madden when you're sitting
Right.
up in the box office. It's like, check, what's gonna happen? When you're down there, you're in it. And I really hope for their sake that this is a turning point. Like you said, there's only 166 yards on the ground. Keep in mind, he has an entire downstairs. 6 different bones, food and water. This massive bed I got off a Temu for him. But he wants to be in the Casuals podcast. It's pretty special.
Right, dude.
Pretty special.
Can you give up?
Probably. We'll just stay up there. I messed at that anyways. One thing that I really love for the Steelers, and you have to love this, as a Steelers fan, is there's 166 yards on the ground through the rushing game. The most they've had all season long. All season long. You get Jalen Warren involved in the way that you did. That's one thing that I've seen that they've gone on all season. You're depending too much on Najee Harris.
Yeah.
Which I still believe that he is a good running back. Obviously has not played good football.
Right.
That's not negotiable. You've seen his yards per carry. That's not negotiable. I think he has the potential to be back to prime Najee, but he can't do it by getting 90% of the touches through the game. You have to distribute that with Jalen Warren. He's like that spark plug for their offense.
He's electric.
He's really fun to watch.
Yeah.
You saw, obviously it got reversed as a touchdown, but he got caught on the one. But when he bounced off that defender, rolling off the side, off the spin move,
The dude booked it.
that was so fun to watch. I'm sitting there in bed like, go, 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 go.
The clown screams, yeah.
Oh my god. But yeah, they've figured something out this week. Maybe it's just the Titans defense, but you have to remember, like, you got Jeffrey Simmons on that defensive line.
Yeah.
Like, they're not a horrible defense, like a defensive line. They're not a horrible, like,
Right.
linebacker core. They're a pretty solid defense, and they ran for 166 yards, which, you know, there have been other teams to do more than that.
Yeah.
But for them, that is a tremendous improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous.
Absolutely is. Questionable schedule coming up a little bit though. For like next 3 games, Packers hosting Packers in Pittsburgh. Thankfully, good for them.
Dub.
Cleveland going to Cleveland and
Probably now.
And then coming to Cincinnati.
Hopefully now.
Yeah, and then hosting the Cardinals again. They got it's like a week. It's a week stretch. I'm not gonna lie. So like they have the opportunity to go. I mean, keep that winning streak
They
alive.
could go 2-1, but I
really could.
probably see them going 1-2. I don't think they're gonna lose in Cincinnati. I mean, I don't think they're gonna win in Cincinnati. Excuse me.
No.
I think we might split the series and lose in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I don't know his name because
reasonable.
obviously I'm not a Steelers fan, but that I think he's a rookie right tackle. Or rookie tackle number 77, played incredible.
Their O-line is solid this year.
He blocked really well.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, Trey Hendrickson, Logan Wilson, Sam Hubbard, DJ Reader, I think they're going to eat him alive. I think Kenny Pickett's
Time
going
will
to
tell.
have one of his worst performances
Time will tell.
at Paycor, but time will tell, as you said. You know, it's
Rivalry, you never know.
it's so hard to be reasonable right now as a Bengals fan because I was so depressed for 3 weeks. I was so sad. Like, Carolina's like, why are you letting this ruin your day? The game's over. The game's over. It's only 3 o'clock. You literally have so much time left in the day. Why are you letting this ruin your day? I'm like, you don't understand. We're supposed to be the best.
I'm gonna piggyback off of you for that for a minute. I'm gonna rewind like about 3 weeks or so. Whatever that Thursday night NFL game was, like 3 weeks ago, I bet on that and it lost. I know for a fact it did because I just remember like the scenario or whatever. Saturday comes, me and Audrey, my girlfriend, we go to Louisville, Notre Dame. Louisville spanks Notre Dame. The following Sunday, Cowboys play 49ers, 42-10. I'm like, this freaking sucks. And Audrey's like, she's like, you're such like a child. Like, I'm looking
She
at.
would say that.
I'm like.
You're like, I'm about to get in trouble right now.
My fist. I'm just like, dude, like I'm so sad.
One thing we say, we read a devotion in our relationship, and one of the things that was said recently is, do your best to not, if ever, speak out of emotion. Because if my wife would have said that to me, I would have had to walk out of the house. Because it's just. It's stupid. It's
so
silly.
It's
so dumb.
It makes us look dumb.
It's so dumb to let your sports team affect your mood like that. Obviously, practically, it's dumb, but it happens to all of us sports fans.
Yes.
All of us.
Oh yes.
So when not only do we put up the performance we do against the Cardinals, to go to Santa Clara, there wasn't a point in that game past the first quarter where I thought we would lose that game.
Right.
Because even when we weren't moving the ball and scoring, we still looked good.
Yeah.
We still, I mean, that's comparatively to where we were beginning of the season.
Yeah.
We would go, because the thing with the Bengals is we're such an explosive play offense. Jamar Chase up the seam, plays like that, of that nature, that it's like first down, run the ball, get 1 yard.
Yeah.
Second down, incompletion. Now it's 39.
Right.
That was a 15-second drive, and now we're punting. That was the whole Browns game. That was the Titans game.
Yeah.
That was like the whole first half of the season to this point. And now it looks like we are all the way back. Joe Burrow.
You look normal.
No.
Sorry. Normal wasn't the word, but
He looked like they took him down into this lab underground and just injected him with something devious. Because not only is he not sliding, he's
Dude, he put his shoulder down.
He's initiating contact on QB runs. And he's getting up after big hit and smacking himself in the helmet. I'm like, who is this?
I'm like on my couch. I'm like,
hold on. He's back. Please, someone let him cook right now. Because he literally said, I'm back. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
Oh my God. I didn't think it was possible to love this man anymore because I think he knows what he was doing too. Because part of the allure for Joe Burrow was how quiet and level-headed he was.
Yeah.
And now that he's back after an injury, being that loud and being that, aggressive and outspoken, it's just perfect. It's poetry in motion.
It's awesome.
It's so fun as a Bengals fan.
Awesome.
We'll get, I guess, that's a good time now. We can wrap up our talk about Thursday Night Football with saying, I think the biggest thing for them, their defense is fine.
Yeah.
They're solid. You have to get Kenny Pickett to move the ball downfield and get more people involved.
Yeah.
George Pickens, he will request a trade in the offseason if you do not incorporate him in your offense. And that is not someone you want to lose.
No.
It's someone that I hope you lose as a Bengals fan.
He's gonna develop.
Yeah.
You're going to want him to develop there. Obviously, you don't want to lose that talent and then him just be like the thug of the NFL,
Yeah.
like just absolutely rip everybody to shreds.
That's one thing that I always thought.
He's gonna be insane if he just gets it clicking. Like I can see it now.
That's one thing I've always respected about the Steelers. It's like, when I hear of a player on the Steelers, a notable player, an important player, they always end up retiring there. They play there forever.
It's their whole tenure. Yeah.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
And I hope, it's the same case for him. It has been for Deontay Johnson. It probably will continue to be that way. But, I hope for their sake that they continue. Dude, should have been. He will be studied. He will be studied by medical professionals for years to come.
Yeah.
That is probably, speaking out of turn, probably one of the biggest cases of CTE we've seen.
It's the saddest.
Next to
one of
Chandler
the
Jones.
saddest stories in football.
And when there's times
In
where
sports.
obviously we grew up as kids watching the big hit era with Ray Allen, Brian Dawkins, Ed Reed. Seeing people get absolutely obliterated.
The Ravens.
But
literally.
when you have Sean Taylor too, when you have situations like that, you can start to understand why they're making the game the way that they are now, and why there's some Vsauce calls. It's boring as a fan, but you have to. These are real people with real lives,
it's
and
protection.
families, and kids.
In the long run, it helps. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
That's a conversation for a different time.
Yeah.
I can go on and on about that.
There's a lot to
to reiterate, I hope it is a turning point for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think them being better and then us beating them makes us look even better. So
Who knows?
selfishly as a
Who knows?
Bengals fan.
Who knows?
But a fun Thursday night football game. I was hoping to my last breath that we'll let the boost on FanDuel with Will Levis hitting that one passing touchdown. It hit. Put to the wrong team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you noticed, but when he picked off that ball, it looked like he was on like the 1 or 2 yard line and then jumped back into the end zone and slid. I don't know regulation-wise and rule-wise how that affects that play. Does it really matter? Does it really matter?
There's a lot more that goes into it.
It was noticeable enough for me to take note of it.
Yeah.
But like I said, could be whatever. But fun Thursday night football game.
Yeah.
We've gone on and on about all of these just because it's such fun. It's just such fun football.
It's sports talk.
We're already almost at 2 hours.
Yeah.
I
know we promised a little bit shorter, but I mean,
we can take a little break there.
You just can't. Yeah.
We've talked about a lot of the major stories so far, so we don't have to take as much time on all of these, but we can go ahead and talk about the rest of the NFL slate.
Quick runs and quick predictions.
Going through one game. I mentioned this when I posted on TikTok earlier.
Yeah.
I've seen this game get overlooked a lot because of how stacked this week is.
Yeah.
Seahawks at Baltimore. The Ravens are favored -6 at this point.
That's a wide margin.
It's a wide margin. I think if it was in Seattle, they might still be favored.
I think it would have been really
maybe like 2.5.
Okay,
or
I was
maybe
say tables maybe reversed, just completely flip flopped.
Yeah, well, it is. When I said that Pittsburgh might be one of the hardest places to play, Seattle's definitely 2 or 3.
Seattle's got to be
I think the Ravens right now are a more complete team.
They are.
I think that Lamar Jackson is playing some of the best football he's ever played in his life.
Well. Yeah,
he's an absolute fiend on the field,
right.
and it's not like what we expected when we expected him to play great football when it's just mostly his legs. He is throwing accurately.
Yeah.
He is throwing smart passes, and I hate him as an Eagles fan, but I gotta give credit to the man. Mark Andrews is looking like prior Mark Andrews again. Zay Flowers playing really good in the slot as well. And what's your prediction for this game? Do you think it's going to be a close one?
I think it's going to be very close. I think this game comes down to the wire. I think Mark Andrews has a really big game, kind of comes out of that show a little bit. I think Zay Flowers has a pretty good game. I think he's the best wide receiver on the field that day. And contest with DK and Tyler Lockett. I think he has a really good game. And I think it comes down to deciding by a field goal.
Which way?
To Jason Myers.
Jason, so you think the Seahawks are going to steal one in Baltimore?
I got Seahawks 27-24 on my prediction here. And yeah, I think Seattle keeps it going.
That might be a hot take for some people, but I think we talked about this last week. We talked so much sports that I don't know what we talked about on air on Tuesday or Monday, and then what we talked about off the air. But they are being slept on. The Seahawks are being slept on.
They put up a dogfight in Cincinnati
every
as well.
single game.
It's just
no. There's no way we would have. We should not have won that game. If Geno Smith isn't as careless with the ball as he is in that game, we definitely lose. Kenny Walker III played crazy that game.
Yeah.
We definitely should have won that, and we were in Seattle as well. So I think that actually. No, it was in Cincinnati. It was not in Seattle. It was in Cincinnati. I think it was at Paycor. Forgive me. Regardless, my point stands. He gave the ball away, and that's why they ended up losing. But I think the Seahawks really look to get DK Metcalf going. If you've noticed over the last few games, he's averaged more yards in each consecutive game.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of this offense. I think you can always depend on Tyler Lockett. He is who he is.
One of the more reliable wide receiver twos in this league. Without a doubt, so
absolutely. Like I said, you can always depend on him getting open when he needs to be open. But I don't see a situation where the Ravens drop this game at home when they're in such a pivotal point and they're like in the season, the midway point, trying to establish themselves in such a tough conference.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think there's a way that they do, but obviously the Seahawks are a really good football team, and they can absolutely win this game.
Right.
But I think that the Ravens are going to take this one. I think it'll be close. I don't think it'll be as close as yours. I think might be a touchdown. Might be 2 field goals.
That's 6. It's just
2 of the best kickers in the league. Best kicker of all time in one end. I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm so grateful.
I'm excited.
So grateful to be off on Sundays now, bro, because I could just watch all of them.
It's just like the amount of games that we have. I mean, if you're going to be up for it, you have Chiefs, Dolphins, 9:30. It's the perfect lineup. Seattle, Baltimore, 1 p.m. Dallas, Philly, 4 p.m. Sunday Night Football, Bills, Bengals. It's like, arguably, like I put it in my notes, I think it's like probably one of the best NFL slates that we have had in a very long time.
Not even, I think clearly of this season.
Yeah.
But even over the last few seasons, one of the better ones.
It has to be. It's got to be up there.
Yeah, I think that losing J.K. Dobbins early was tough for them.
Very tough.
But,
again.
Gus Edwards, obviously, I love J.K.
Yeah.
Buckeye faithful.
But Gus
love that man. Gus Edwards has really shined this season.
Yeah.
And personally, I think they take this game. Won't spend too much time on it. I like how you put in your notes that the 12th man takes it. I can absolutely see that happening. Cowboys and Eagles, I'll let you take this one. This is your Dallas Cowboys facing the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia.
Not really much to say about this one. I think everybody kind of already knows where this game might be headed. Unfortunately, I probably do know as well because it's one of those rivalries where you always go 1-1 every season.
Right.
I don't remember the last time the Cowboys have swept this talented of a Philly team in a very long time. We finally get to see Dak versus Hurts when they're somewhat healthy. They're gonna if Philadelphia loses this game, they're going to blame it on Hurts' knee, even though that he balled out against Miami, which is I don't know. I'm just saying the big if there.
He's my personal favorite for MVP at this point in the season.
He's played incredible, and that's coming from me. He's unreal. AJ Brown, 6 consecutive games over 100 yards, and four of the 6 with touchdowns.
Yeah.
1 with multiple touchdowns.
He said just 2. The ball
2 of the 6 with multiple touchdowns. I think now I don't think he continues that streak this week. But I think he has.
It's hard to keep up.
I think he has a good game. I don't think he has that good of a game. I think CeeDee Lamb plays very well. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think it is. This game is like it's a 3-point spread for a reason, and they're in Philly. Like I think it's a very reasonable spread, but I think Philly wins, and I think that they probably win by at least. I'm going to say at least 4 in this one. I'm going to probably go like 31-24 range.
I think
I like 31-24.
one thing that you can take as a positive as a Cowboys fan, because the Eagles are really good. The Eagles are really good. Jalen Hurts is playing incredible. You have to forget though, people forget, they tend to, is when AJ Brown is playing like he is.
Yeah.
Right now at this point, there's Tyreek, AJ Brown, and everyone else.
Yeah.
When he's playing the way he is, you forget that Devontae Smith is on the other side of the field.
Oh, yeah.
He's had a few bad drops, but he's still really good at catching footballs.
He's still Devontae Smith.
Exactly.
It's just one of those things where you don't know until something happens. He's one of those guys that can light you up the moment he grabs the ball. You know what I mean? It's just there's no telling. There really
Big
is.
fourth down catch.
Yeah, but that's the way it goes. You saw it last year when they were in Dallas. T.Y. Hilton, 3rd and 26, they threw a 50-yard bomb and T.Y. Hilton catches it, clutches the game up. Dallas wins. This game in particular, though, is a little bit confusing for me because you don't know if it's a tougher test for Jalen or if it's for Dak. Jalen gets his first one of his first real tests against a real defense, I think. Dallas probably has.
Personally, I think this is a bigger test for Dak Prescott.
I think so as well.
Because of the narrative around the Cowboys and the narrative around him being
there's so much
turnover prone, being a middle of the pack Dak, as they say. Thing about Jalen Hurts is if he has a bad game this week coming up, he's been so good that he'll still be in MVP contention.
Yeah. But it's just I just hope that people kind of keep that same energy. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's just
They won't, and I think that's one thing you realize being Cowboys fans.
I'm content with that.
It's like being a Yankees fan. It's like there is a certain brand. It's being a Lakers fan. There is a certain level of expectation that comes with playing for one of those organizations. If anything, though, to take comfort in as a Cowboys fan is at Washington, in New York against the Jets. They look beatable at times. They do. They aren't indestructible. They're not unfathomable.
It's a completely different team when they play them, dude. Yeah. It's a completely different team. And I'm trying to be quick here, but I'm gonna move on with this. Last year, Dak threw for 347 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. In last season's game that he played, because Cooper Rush played in Philly last year, if people remember. 347 is a lot of yards. Philadelphia in their last 4 games have allowed the most yards by a quarterback, in those last 4 games. So it's going to be really, though they've been without a lot of their secondary. Slay's been out a little bit. They've been out a lot of key players on defense. I think it's going to be a good game. I mean, obviously, I don't think it'll probably go our way because of where it is. I mean, that's just the way it is. Philly's awesome. It's a crazy place to be. I'm a Philadelphia Philly fan, and baseball place is unreal. It's one of the best sports atmospheres.
Must be so hard having those two sides of you.
I'm content with it, but again, I don't think it's a must-win game for Dallas, though. I think they're able to drop this one and obviously still make postseason play. But
the best thing for you as a Cowboys fan is Cowboys have been playing well on all 3 sides of the ball.
Yes,
all 3 ends.
They really have.
You really have. The best thing for you to do, for the Dallas Cowboys to do, is to come out and fire immediately like you did against the Rams last week. I think you need that in order to beat Philadelphia at home. If you come out and you start slow, I doubt that. That the Eagles' offense are going to start slow at home.
Right.
I think what might end up happening is they come out and score 1 or 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, or very quickly. You guys struggle to move the ball initially. You start rolling, but it's too late to catch up, and you lose by 7, you lose by 10. You know what I mean? So I think that's what ends up happening. I do think, the Cowboys aren't getting enough credit because of that loss in the 49ers.
But it's understandable.
Because of losing to the Cardinals.
We get it.
Can't argue with that.
Coming off a really big one last week, though, again, 40 points is a lot in this league. It's hard to do, but coming off, if there's anyone I'd want to come off of to play Philly, it's got to be that one. So I'm confident that they'll play well. I just don't think that they'll finish out. But that's coming from a fan. So, granted, whenever they come to Dallas, I don't think it's the same way. I think they come on. They always do. That's the way it is. That's the way rivalry is.
I will mimic you though and say that I think regardless of how this one plays out, you'll probably split the series. But I got the Eagles taking this one. Playing at home is gonna be hard to beat.
Oh yeah. Well.
Here we are. The Buffalo Bills at Cincinnati Beals. The Buffalo Beals. I love that. One thing I'll say before I get started.
Go ahead.
You've seen this happen since, we helped the Bills get into playoff contention however many years back. The Bills and the Bengals have had a great relationship. The two fan bases have been very cordial, very kind to each other. You have the Goodberry brothers on Twitter. One's a Buffalo Bill, one's a Cincinnati Bengal. Yep. I'm not seeing that same energy going into this week.
There's a weird energy.
It is weird, bro. I don't know if I like it.
I think there's a lot leading up to it, though. I mean, you guys pummeled them in their own house in the postseason. You guys were beating them in that Monday night game that
I don't know if it's Michigan, Ohio State being on people's timelines that's making them feel so fired up and looking for trouble.
Yeah.
But I see Bills fans going back and clipping multiple different plays from the last time we played, saying that, Trey Hendrickson is trying to intentionally hurt Josh Allen after the play.
Yeah.
You have Bills players saying that the game doesn't happen the same way if it's not snowing.
Right.
This feels like it's becoming a rivalry game, and I love it. 100% here for it.
Snowball,
You're telling me as a Buffalo Bill that the snow is the reason you didn't win the game. Do you remember where you live? You're pretty much in Canada. You play in the snow more than we do.
More than anybody.
More than anyone in the league.
Arguably Denver, but more than anybody.
I mentioned this before. I will be the first person to come on here on Tuesday, schedule granted, to be like, I am a dumbass and I was wrong. But I don't think that the Bills, it's not as much the team as it is the fan base. I don't think them stoking the fire as much as they have been is going to fare very well for them. At this point in the season, the defense is looking phenomenal. I had a lot of questions about the secondary coming into the season. Cam Taylor-Britt, Mike Hilton,
defense is played out of the
Chidobe Uzie. That's regardless if you're 2 hours in or it's minute one, that's still a mouthful. Dogs.
Yeah.
Cam, I love you, bro.
Yeah.
You are.
It's been outstanding.
One of the best pickups we've had in many years past.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be close scoreline-wise, but I think in every category we're going to edge them out. I think running the ball, I think that's a given. With their backfield right now in the running back room, that's a given.
Yes.
I think that's Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen's going to try to get him involved.
Well,
I don't know if that's going to pay off. I don't know if that's going to pan out the way that they want it to.
Right.
Jamar Chase is playing Jamar Chase-esque football right now. Joe Burrow is demon time. With the energy, I'm just like, at this point, I can sit and talk about stats all day long like we have with the rest of the games, but I think it comes down to the fact that Joe Burrow he looks like a different person. The way he carried himself.
He's coming.
The way he carried himself in San Francisco was just something that I was not expecting, but I just absolutely love to see.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love to see it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you gave your pick, whatever, being an absolute demolish or massacre in Cincinnati. I'm going to probably have to say it's a shootout. And I think Cincinnati wins. Easy. It sounds like I was taking the Bills there for a second, but no, I think Cincinnati wins in a shootout. I think Burrow has his best game of the season, by far. I think this game is very personal to him. He wants to keep that motive strong, and he's like saying, I own Buffalo. Because he quite literally does at this point almost.
Yeah.
Just like he does Pat, he'll probably own Josh as well.
Let me specify too, I think part of it, I phrased that a little incorrectly. I think that we handle this very easily. We handle it easily. Yeah. I think you're looking at a final scoreline of something like 37-30, 24-31.
Like the score is not going to tell how the game's
played.
I think some garbage time touchdown is going to ruin that or something.
I think part of it too is I'm getting used to talking for 2 hours straight.
Yeah.
And my brain starts to turn into a puddle of pudding at the end of it. But to sum up the way that I feel about this game, because you notice we are like historians in the first half hour.
Oh yeah.
But once we get to like the 2 hour mark, it's like we haven't even touched college football yet. I don't know if we're gonna touch college football this evening because it's just going on. But I'm having a great time. This is really fun.
We're gonna ride this thing. Shout out to anybody who's still watching this.
this
For
is
anybody who has a 2.5 hour drive to work.
Right, Jordan, if you're tuning in and not learning Japanese, I appreciate you, bro. It's a learning curve for us, of course.
Yeah.
You know, I think I told you before we did this episode that I was like, I need to stop using words like absolutely or totally. I'm like, bro, people are gonna take that at face value when you're texting somebody. You're like, bro,
you said it. Yeah.
But I think that our team's going to take this very personally.
Yeah.
I think this is a very personal game in the beginning of a rivalry. I think when we were both like pretty good teams, but not quite like, you know, Super Bowl contenders, which we both are. Absolutely.
Yeah,
We've been there. The Bills have almost been there so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I think this turns into more of a rivalry. I think Josh Allen has a ton to prove.
He does.
But so does Joseph
Definitely
Weber.
does. He definitely
And
does. He definitely
Paycor is not an easy place to play.
Not at night.
Especially on Sunday night at night.
Cold.
Especially when you have a fan base who's watched such dog water for the past 10 to 15 years.
They're ready. They want it, man.
They finally have their team. We went and we watched them play the Falcons.
Yeah.
That was the last Bengals game I went to. We were up by 4 touchdowns. It was 95 degrees at the beginning of October, and that place was still just shaking. It was on fire. It was electric. It's a tough place to play, and I really think that we're gonna take this one.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Like I said, I'll be the first person to come up in here and be like, I was wrong. Forgive me. We are not back. It's over. but for now, we are definitely back. I think Joe, he does a good job of playing very calculated if he's protected. You know, he's not just going to throw the ball downfield and just hope that Jamar Chase will go up and get it.
Jamar down there somewhere.
He's down there somewhere.
But I think Jamar has a crazy game though. But I will backtrack.
Is Micah Hyde healthy? I don't remember.
Don't think so. I will backtrack a little bit here. Who was the leading wide receiver for Cincinnati who absolutely pummeled the Bills when they were in Buffalo last year in the postseason, though? I think Mr. T is back. And I think
I surely hope so, bro, because if he doesn't get targeted more often, I'm not sure that he stays around next season.
I think this dude absolutely goes crazy. I think I'm looking at like 80 to 120 range on the yardage and like at least a score.
I hope so because I think it's a given at this point that the majority of the game that if there's not a safety on top of Jamar Chase, he's going to be doubled.
Right.
For sure, especially in the red zone.
Right.
T is, one thing that people don't realize if you don't watch the Bengals a whole lot, T is huge. He's like 6'4", 6'5",
tall dude, tall
230. Like he's a massive target.
Yep.
And he'll find him. He'll find him out there in the middle of the field. One thing that people don't realize though, Mr. Reliable for the Bengals. Very, very often the unsung hero, Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
He always comes up and makes the big play when he needs
in the big games too.
Say Jamar Chase, you say number 1, number 2, they're hurt, they're not having a good game, they're covered.
Right.
He finds a way. The one target he had last week was like a crucial third and long.
Yeah.
Like he always finds a way to be there. The one game we went and watched the Falcons at Paycor, he had like 2 touchdowns and 160 yards. I was like, Caroline was like, who is that? And I was like, it's Tyler Boyd, baby. Like that's it. He is him today. Maybe not tomorrow, but today he's him.
Right.
Yeah, I love this team. I love watching them. They're super fun. At this point,
I'm hyped for you guys.
You're the same way though. You know, regardless of how this season plays out, you've watched bad football for so long. At some points, there's nothing that our teams can do to make us stop watching them.
Right.
And so we both have exciting teams to watch.
For sure. Sunday's gonna be fun.
I mean, no disrespect on the Bills, bro. I was sitting here and we talked about it. I very much disagree with you about Dak Prescott and Josh Allen comparison. I think you look at the numbers over the last 2 weeks, there's a lot of factors that can, contribute to that conversation. And you presented your side very well. Yeah. I've said to you multiple times, I love watching Josh Allen play. Mm-hmm. I hope he pops off and goes crazy every single game that he's not playing because I love watching him throw for 360 and 3 touchdowns. It's fun.
Right. Yeah.
Not against the Bengals.
It's respectable though.
They're a great team. They have a great receiving core.
Mm-hmm.
They have a really solid defense.
Yeah.
Not healthy though. I think they're really missing Matt Milano, and I think you can tell. A lot of the games they're winning are very close, and so he's a field general.
Right.
When he's there, you feel his presence. So I think they're missing him a lot. They haven't really been clear with when he's coming back, so I don't know if that means this season, postseason, what. But
Brutal loss though, nonetheless. So
I'm gonna be taking the Bengals in this one.
cool. Really?
I'm gonna be taking the Bengals.
Really? I'm gonna go over quickly my best bets of the rhythm this week. So this week we're riding with the Colts at -2.5 here. Gardner Minshew with the start in Carolina. -2.5 feels like it's kind of free here. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna absolutely hammer the heck out of it. Rhythm has them at -5, which is 3 points over than what that spread is lined at. So that's quite a big margin
Quickly,
jump here.
Colts only team in the league to have 20 plus every game this season.
That's mind-boggling.
Gardner Minshew's Colts.
We're gonna take it. We're taking
it.
Never mind. Okay.
I'm tailing.
Okay, fair. But the parlay is going to be over 40 points in the Buccaneers-Texans game. 40 is medium level, but I mean it's a little scary. But this one's set at 60.4% win probability here.
That's my game for Baker and CJ. So
Both of them.
Also.
They're in Houston. CJ plays a lot better in Houston than anywhere, and he's been lights out this year. Amazing. And then, as we said earlier, Chiefs -2 versus Miami. I'm going to take that as well. Moving on to college.
yeah, let's cover that for a little bit.
We'll do that.
We're
As quick as
past
possible.
we're past 2 hours. I know you're really passionate about college football, so feel more than welcome to throw on the old iPhone and upload some TikToks about your takes. But it's 10:41 and I open the coffee shop tomorrow, so we're gonna hit these really quick. I'd like to open the college football conversation by saying I was very misinformed on my take between Michael Penix and Caleb Williams.
Well, I don't think you were personally, but
Well, okay, so if we're
You see
looking
that,
at
so-
if we're looking at just this season, then there's an argument to be made.
Yeah.
But I think that was the problem. I was just looking at this season, and my point wasn't
get
that
it.
he's playing better than him. My point was that he would get drafted higher than Caleb Williams,
Yeah.
which is kind of a horrible take. It is out of all the takes that I've made on this podcast in the 4 hours that we've been
crazy
live.
though. I mean, personally, if I'm a general manager, based on the stuff that he has said, for one thing, I don't think I'm looking at him anymore. I really don't. That's not just because I'm wearing a Notre Dame jersey, because I hate him with my guts. I've never liked
might
him.
slightly affect your opinion.
No, it doesn't. I don't think so.
Looking at Caleb Williams, though, I mean, in 3 years, 1 year at Oklahoma, 2 years at USC, is that where
So
has he been again?
So far, it's been
88 touchdowns and 13 interceptions.
incredible career.
Across 6 years for Michael Penix, 84 touchdowns and 29 interceptions. That's more than double the interceptions that Caleb Williams has thrown. And I know that a lot of people are making this comparison, but I felt I need to do so pretty quickly just because of the things that I said last week. I'm not apologizing to anyone. I'm just clarifying for my own sake. I think,
I will say majority of those bad numbers are more than likely from when he was in Indiana.
Yeah,
Which
because
is reasonable,
if you look
but-
at the stats
so-
though, you don't see him his touchdown numbers. There's a couple years he's throwing more interceptions than touchdowns. It's all in Indiana.
Yeah.
He really didn't take off until him and his head coach moved to Seattle. So,
Right.
Sorry about that. Caleb Williams, still him. Whatever. You're a Chicago Bear. Good luck. Good luck.
You can take him. You can take him by all means. But
Number 5 Washington at number 20 USC. It's in Southern Cal.
we've been told that this game they want us to talk about this game a lot. They want us to talk about this game. They don't like it. Whatever. They have Washington -3.5, -3, whatever. You have Caleb Williams night 7:30 Southern Cal. 2 Heisman contenders going at it. Washington's played a lot of close games this year. Struggled last week. Pretty bad against Stanford. The week before that, they struggled. Played a lot of close games. Oregon, even though it's a top team,
That's a moth.
that scared the crap.
So, dude.
Hey, bro.
It's kind of rude for you to interrupt him, though. Go ahead.
A lot of close games, even top Oregon. Give me the Trojans.
I think this game might end 100-99.
Like we said last week. Yeah, we were talking about this last week.
Listen to this.
We're not talking basketball.
Washington's defense is really bad. USC's defense, even worse.
Oh yeah.
USC's defense is ranked 111 out of 133 FBS teams in total defense.
Saw that.
They're allowing almost 421 yards per game. According to the NCAA, USC's offense is currently ranked 11th with 4,826. Wait, hold the phone. 482.6 yards. I missed a decimal there in my numbers. 482 total yards per game and 52 total offensive touchdowns. That is literally polar opposites, which might be a really bad sign going into a matchup like this if the other team wasn't the exact same thing.
Right.
Washington ranked 501.2 yards per game.
Yeah.
40 total offensive touchdowns, 12 less than the Trojans at this point.
Yeah.
I feel like, Caleb Williams might have a lot to do with that number. But their defense at this point currently ranked at 95, allowing 400.2 yards a game. I think
Over.
the over's going to be set at like 70, bro.
Okay, actually take a guess. What is that? I just checked.
I'm going to say 60.
We're going at 77 of an over here.
No shot.
And out of spite for the absolute electricity that this game is going to provide, I am going
You're
to put
taking the
my
over.
mortgage is on this over. Yeah.
That is so, that over is, disrespectful to
That's
the defense,
awesome.
but
The defensive
for good
coordinator
reason.
seeing that is just like,
Man. I'm losing my job, bro. I don't care if we win the Natty, bro. I'm losing my job. Yeah, this is going to be a really tight one. You have the Trojans winning
I
at
have
home.
USC taking this one.
Home field advantage is a very real thing.
I think Penix has a rough game. I don't want to say it takes him out of Heisman contention, but I think it just pummels him down in the rankings.
For being realistic, though, I don't think he's going to win
I don't
the
think
Heisman.
so
Even if he
either.
performs well through the end of the season, I think he's definitely top 3, though, if he plays out.
I think he can make.
well
I think he makes it to New York. I'll get to my Heisman picks later because actually the fact I wrote down because it's been a conversation that's been erging around everywhere. But yeah, again, I'll take the Trojans in this one. I think one of the biggest things of this week, Zion Branch, freshman safety on USC, has been ruled up for the season. Big loss. However, his brother exists and his name is Zachariah Branch. And as a fan of Notre Dame, he torched us on special teams. I think this kid has an electric game, so I'm going to be watching out for Zachariah Branch in this game. I think he goes crazy. I have Trojans 38-35 in this one.
For the Trojans' sake, I hope he does. But when you're looking at the likes of the Washington football receiving court and Roma Dunze and Jalen Polk, I think it's hard to match that in a game that with the over being set at 77, a game that is going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna flip that and take Washington.
Okay.
I'm gonna take
It's
Washington.
understandable though. I get it. Yeah.
There will not be a single cell in my body that's surprised if it's taken the other way. I hope for Caleb Williams' sake that he has an incredible day.
Yeah.
Because I think if he beats Washington and has an incredible performance with a high QBR, that pretty much can negate the last few weeks in the eyes of a lot of NFL scouts.
Oh yes.
So I'm hoping for a really high scoring game. I think that's what we all expect. Let's go through all the games that aren't our teams, and we can just quickly give our predictions.
Yeah. So this one has been on my mind a lot because it's the last one of its kind, unfortunately. The showdown is Stillwater, Oklahoma. Bedlam is
Being in Fort Smith, Arkansas, this game was a huge deal all the time.
Bedlam is one of the most underrated rivalries in sports. Period.
I can piggyback off that saying I absolutely know that.
They hate each other. Like you obviously look at Ohio State, Michigan, whatever. Yeah, of course. These people want blood, like legit murder.
People from
almost.
Oklahoma are insane.
They're insane. Like it's just Oklahoma people in general.
They live and breathe.
They're different.
They live and breathe Oklahoma Sooner football or Oklahoma State Cowboy football. It does not matter, bro.
Man, I'm so sad that this rivalry is over because of stupid realignment. But
let's hear your pick. Who do you think is
I'll get right to it though. Sooners obviously favored 5.5. Sooners have been struggling a little bit, come off a crazy tough loss to Kansas. Oklahoma State at home in this one, I'm going to take the Cowboys. I like them in this one. I think they win in a little bit comfortably in a way. I think by at least a touchdown to 10 points at least.
I really like this episode so far because I feel like last episode we agreed on literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like all of our takes were like exactly the same, and I don't think we've had a prediction outside of the NBA that's been the same.
Yeah.
I think the Sooners take this one. I think they play really angry after losing.
As they should.
That pretty much took them from being, was that the number 4 team locked into the playoffs to being like, can they work their way back?
Right.
Dylan Gabriel didn't have an insane day, but he ran for 3 touchdowns. They lost the game.
Quietly, but...
Their running back, Mr. Walker, 146 yards and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
If they can keep that momentum in the rushing game,
They just didn't play bad.
and if they can keep that momentum in the rushing game and then get the passing game going, I think they win this game. I like Dylan Gabriel representing the great state of Hawaii. I think that they take this game over the Cowboys. I think it's going to be great, though. I'm foreseeing a pretty similar scoreline to what you said.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be that much big difference, but I like the Sooners in this.
I'm going to note a couple of things really fast, though. Ollie Gordon has been one of the most dominant running backs in college football. 1,087 yards, 10 touchdowns.
Crazy.
Sooners ranked 52nd in total rushing defense this year so far.
That number with 9 weeks of football, too, is crazy.
Allowing 132 yards a game. However, they're third in all of the FBS in tackles for losses. Quietly, 86 in passing yards allowed. Oklahoma State is 90th. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. Heavy pass team in Oklahoma, heavy run game in Oklahoma State.
One of my favorite things as a football fan is seeing big breakaway runs.
Dude,
I hope on both sides we see it.
I think this is
so
going to be electric. I think this is going to be awesome. But we'll move on. Next up, Mizzou, Georgia here. Georgia's 15.5 favorite here. And I think that they don't let off the gas at all.
I like that spread a lot.
I don't think they let off the gas at all. I think they absolutely destroy the Mizzou.
If I'm in the SEC,
I think they absolutely.
If I'm in the SEC and the next game, you're a Missouri fan,
yeah,
and your next game because it gets a Georgia that was just taken from number 1 to number 2 after remaining undefeated and winning back-to-back national championships. Your number 1 spot being taken by an Ohio State team that hasn't really proven much other side of strength of schedule.
It's coming from history.
I would be worried. We can get into that later, but obviously this year the committee
we'll go over the poll on Tuesday.
took strength of schedule into account very heavily this year.
Yeah.
Penn State win obviously meant a lot to them. The Notre Dame win obviously meant a hell of a lot to them.
Yeah.
I don't think we're the best team in college football. I don't think we're the number 1 team in college football, but I do personally think that
the resume is there.
I personally think that we're the most deserving team in number 1 spot this point of the season.
It's understandable.
This point of the season. Michigan has a better defense, slightly, but let me backtrack. Ohio State has a better defense, slightly. Michigan is still up there, but they have a better offense. Really looking forward to that team. Really looking forward to playing that team up north. We're going to talk a lot about that leading up to that once that comes.
Yeah.
But
Again,
Georgia.
That's.
I like that. One thing that I will note, though, it could be, a Florida-Georgia situation where they still put up 3 scores, somewhere around that. I do think it's very likely that we could see Luther Burden hit 1,000 yards this game.
I was about to say, yeah.
I think he needs about 90, I think.
Yeah.
If not this game, next for sure, but
it's his biggest test.
Draft stock is shooting through the roof.
It's their biggest test.
Yeah,
Brady Cook has played lights out. I mean, Mizzou is 7-1 as their highest ranking ever in the CFP era.
Yeah.
They're only ranked one other time in 2020, and that was 25th. So a little bit of a confidence here. You're number 12. It's a high ranking, but you're playing a really good test. Despite you played LSU, they kept up with LSU.
Yeah.
They don't keep up with Georgia. I think Georgia absolutely kills them and at least puts up 30 points with ease here.
I'm not going to say any more on that. I think the Georgia Bulldogs, I think they take this one pretty easy.
For sure. Quickly again, Kansas State at Texas here. Texas without Quinn Ewers, 4-point favorites in this one. I'm gonna go it again. Kansas State.
Yeah.
I'm not doubting it. I'm not overthinking this. I think there's way too much pressure on Malik Murphy here. I think that he got off to a really rough start last week, and if he does that again this week, it's going to come back and bite him. He had 2 picks last week. He came back and played really well the rest of the game, but you cannot do that against Kansas State defense. Kansas State defense is ranked number 1 in all of Big 12. They are ranked second in all of Big 12 offense. So very talented team on both sides of the ball here. I think that I just don't think they keep up. I think Kansas State wins this one, not comfortably, but in a tight.
I don't have much to add other than the fact that I think the narrative around this game is a little different if he's not injured.
Yeah, absolutely is. 100%.
I will say it's only the second time after the UGA prediction that I agree with you. I think that Kansas State does take this one in a close one.
So one of the more underrated teams in that 20 to 25 rank range as well. So I'm feeling pretty confident in Wildcats there. So they're hot right now. Come 41-0 last week as well. So I'll let you take this one.
My Ohio State Buckeyes favored 18.5.
A lot.
Minus 18.5 against Rutgers. I think Rutgers is a pretty slept-on team this year in the Big Ten, considering the teams that they've lost to so far.
Great shot. Tough.
Yeah, they're a tough team to fight. I think the narrative surrounding this game for Ohio State is the same narrative that we've had every single game. What are we going to see out of Kyle McCord? Is he going to step up? Is he going to show?
He's got to be there.
Is he going to show that he's a quarterback capable of leading this team to the national championship? I personally think he hears it all. He knows what's going on. He knows the narrative surrounding him, and I think that he performs very well. Yeah. I think as a fan base, we need to see him have not just a good game, an exceptional game, to have faith that we can go, play the Bulldogs and not get blown out.
Right.
We don't want another TCU Georgia situation. We want some confirmation that we have a fighting chance. We have no concerns about our defense. We are worried about our quarterback, the leader of the team, the general of the team. We need to see him prove it.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Marvin Harrison, going for 5 in a row.
Yes.
I think we're easily looking at another 142 touchdown game for Marvin Harrison.
I think he does.
My only concern with Marvin Harrison, Travion Henderson, I just want everybody to stay healthy.
Right. That's the main thing for right now. But yeah.
If we're up by a lot of scores, just rest some people.
Right.
If it's a really tight game, for the love of God, don't lose. For the love of God, don't lose, because if we get ranked number 1 and drop to Rutgers, then it's over.
Right.
It is so over.
I'll only say a couple of things about this one. Spread being 18.5, it's a lot, but I think they cover. I don't think the defense struggles.
I think, if given their track record this season, I think they absolutely cover, because what we do, what Ohio State does,
it's just
what Ohio State does is we'll punt the ball a few times. There may be a fumble in there somewhere. Yeah. It'll be a tight game. There will be 3 or 4 touchdowns in the third quarter.
Oh, for sure.
And that spread is covered.
Oh, yeah.
It's just something happens. It's like, oh man, we only got about 20 minutes of football here left.
Yeah.
Let's kick it into another gear.
It's just the Ryan Day.
Marv is down there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have it this time. Go ahead and give me a little bit on your game.
The only thing I'll leave with the Rutgers game is that they rank 9th in total defense across the NCAA. The tie for them.
Yeah. 2nd
in passing defense. 1st is Notre Dame.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So it'll be an interesting game, but I think they cover. Moving on, Notre Dame.
That's why the thing that we're looking at the most is Kyle McCord.
It all relies on their offense. You're not worried about the defense at all. It's just that's probably one of his bigger tests besides playing Notre Dame or Penn State or whatever. That's a sleeper test right there. That's a trap.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. But
absolutely agree.
Yeah, whatever. Notre Dame, 15th in the poll. Don't like it, but I think they come out pissed. So sorry. I think they come out really, really, really mad in this one. Favored by 3 against Clemson on the road in Death Valley. I never really thought I'd see the day, but Clemson is 4-4, and they have the potential to go 4-5 for the first time since 2011. Dabo said a lot of questioning things this week. I think it's kind of weird, honestly. He's complimented our team. He's also demoted our team a little bit. It's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of the weirdest guys in the world right now.
You guys are a really good football team. Also, you suck.
He was like, they're one of the more complete teams that we've played, but it was we also destroyed them in 2020. It's yeah, buddy, that was 3 years ago. Yeah, whatever. Coming off 58-7 win at Pitt. Clemson coming off a brutal loss at NC State, who Notre Dame put 40 on as well.
Yeah.
I like our chances here, but again, I'm not going to make a pick or a prediction on this one.
That's understandable.
Hartman is
That's understandable.
Hartman is 0-4 against Clemson in his career. But
It's,
he also Wake Forest is Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So
Rutgers Ohio State isn't as much of a a nail biter in the sense of everything, considering the history of these two teams matching up.
The record at this point does not matter. Like, I'm throwing the record out the window. This is still Clemson. Like, it's just one of those teams, and I think it all depends on the running game. Like we were talking about earlier. Will Shipley's day to day with a concussion, whatever he's got going on. I think they're hiding that to do something. I'm not ruling them out.
Yeah. So. We're approaching 11:00 p.m., so I'm gonna do my best as a early riser to give a complete rundown of my thoughts on this game.
Yeah.
You're coming off a game where you picked off the quarterback 4 times against Pitt.
Yeah.
Obviously, we discussed it before. Your defense is incredible. I think that if Will Shipley does not play this game, there's not really a chance that Clemson can get a lead and hold on to it. Will Shipley hasn't rushed for more than 50 yards, nor has he scored in his last 2 games. If your defense does step up like they have every single game, I think that you win.
Right.
They need to rally behind the home crowd, and if Clemson wants to win this game, they need to rally behind the home crowd and put some pressure on Sam Hartman, because I know that he does not have the best track record against Clemson.
Dude is like Peyton Manning Jr. in the back.
Please,
right there,
please help me so I don't sound like an idiot. How do you say your running back's last name?
Oh no, I want you to try. I'm
Estime.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Estime.
Estime's been a dog. His last performance is incredible.
Best running back in the country. That's not a hot take. That's just a known fact. I don't really care what anybody says.
What was the stats last week? Was it 3 touchdowns?
3 touchdowns. He bounced back incredibly. Like, he's had like a little bit of a few shaky.
I know it was like a below average game against us.
They fed him 22 carries. Nobody on the team had over 3. I believe it was either that week or it was the week before. But that's a lot.
Yeah. If they can find a way to stop him, and if St. Hartman's looked the way he's looked against him in the past, that's the only way that Clemson. They really have to lean into home field advantage.
2 very talented defenses in this one. So.
I think this specifically is my hot take of the week. I think Clemson takes this in a really close one, but you guys have a really good team, and if Estime isn't stopped, he's gonna feast. He's gonna feast.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. That's why I'm not making a pick on this one.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I get it, man. I don't, want to breeze by this too fast. I don't have a whole lot to say about this. SEC football is not my wheelhouse. I'm not going to sit and pretend.
I am fired up.
I'm really excited for this game, though. Bama just continues to find a way to win.
Yeah.
Being behind, trailing at halftime, multiple games.
Yeah.
They always find a way to rally behind their head coach. Greatest coach, unarguably in college football history at this point, Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm.
If Jalen Milroe doesn't turn the ball over, I think that they have a good chance to win this game. He has 5 picks through 8 games this season, and
he's got to take care of it though.
He's got to take care of the football. They continue to find a way to win despite the dropping the game week 1 against Texas. But LSU they've got a sour taste in their mouth.
For sure.
They dropped a heartbreaker at Ole Miss, and the other game they lost was to the number 4 team in the nation.
Yeah.
So it's hard to overlook that.
Yeah.
It should be an incredible game. I know you have a lot to say.
I love this one. I absolutely love this one. So I mean, obviously we all know CBS primetime, that music hits different. It's an electric factory.
That's Stranger Things
amazing.
Last season.
Like the red and white pom poms going back and forth. That's electric, man. Like, you have to love that. Like, Big Al, awesome mascot, whatever. But you come and you're hosting LSU, who just so happens to be a familiar foe. Big game Brian Kelly is back, and this dude flops hard. I think Bama absolutely crushes LSU in this one. I think Jalen Daniels is put out of Heisman contention for good. Let me see here. I wrote a lot for this. I wrote a lot down for this one. LSU's coming off a win last year in Death Valley. But Bama's looking for blood in this one. I mean, like, as you said, they have a sour taste in their mouth just as much as LSU does. But Bama's sour taste is from the year before.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is always the game that determines SEC championship on who Georgia plays. So I'm going to have to take Bama in this one.
I mean, we've been very clear about the fact that we're Pat McAfee show fans.
Yeah.
Obviously.
What?
Most people most people who watch
Please don't
sports,
copyright.
most podcasters, whatever, a lot of people are.
Yeah.
Nick Saban has made it very clear that he is really tired of hearing about how they're not winning by 20, 30 points.
He is mad.
They are still
aggravated.
winning every game, minus one game.
They lost
He's
to
fed
Texas, a top 10 team. God forbid Saban actually loses a
With a
team.
really young team,
God,
week
yeah.
1 of the season.
So I don't know. I just
Both
don't,
teams are coming in fired up. I think Nick Saban feels like he has a team that should be considered for the playoff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like so many people have rode them out after week 1. They've been playing with a chip on their shoulder. I really like the Tide in this game.
I don't think that they lose 2 at home.
No,
I don't think they do. So I found this number. I got your number really quick again, whatever. I'm going to ask you this because I'm going to let you guess. I don't know if you looked at my thing or not.
I mean, we have a lot in here, so there's a good chance I missed it.
I'm going to ask you, who is the last college quarterback to beat Nick
Okay.
Saban in back-to-back seasons?
I actually read this one,
Okay.
so do you want me to say it?
Whatever, you can. But
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees whenever he played at Purdue.
Do you know when he played at Purdue?
That was when Saban coached at Michigan State.
Do you know when he played at Purdue?
1990. Was it
The year I was born.
97? Was it 97
88,
through 99?
98, sorry.
It's like, well, but
Tongue
yeah.
tied. 1998, the year that I was born. I am 25 years old. About to turn 26 in just a few months.
So yeah, I don't know. Drew Brees was like the biggest menace Nick Saban has ever had and played against, whether it was at Michigan State or whether it was in the NFL.
One of my favorite quarterbacks to ever do it. Love that man.
Saban has a quote here, said he was 5'11" or whatever, but he torched us.
That's how he talks. He's just like,
Yeah. So yeah, Saban is 1-2 against Drew Brees, and he's. So yeah, but yeah, that was crazy. I think it was crazy. But Drew Brees, sorry to cut you off.
You're good, bro.
509 yards.
That's so
5
crazy.
touchdowns.
That's so crazy.
Saban's
My
infuriating.
my stepmom is from the Tuscaloosa area.
Yeah.
I have 2 sisters. One of them doesn't care about sports. The other one, die hard Crimson Tide fan.
Oh.
So, you know, I used to just be like, "Ugh," but
Yeah.
they've grown on me in years past. You know, just appreciating Nick Saban for who he is. I
Yeah.
think part of me, you know, wanting to take my sports watching a little more serious in the fact that I want to be more well informed. Like, I wanted to just stop and appreciate being able to watch Nick Saban coach and
Agreed.
do it with a different squad every single time,
Right.
being the same kind of caliber coach. Scully, Sis, I'm rooting for you guys this week.
Yeah.
I think you guys take this one, and I think that caps off like a 2.5 hour episode, bro.
Milestone. Shout out to y'all who actually.
We walked in here and I was like, probably 90 minutes.
90.
We were gonna record at like 5:30, but my grandpa's going overseas, so we weren't have dinner. So I was like, I guess we'll push it back.
Family matters. That's all that matters. It's
I
fine.
don't know why this piffs. It's 11:06.
I'm happy we took this or whatever. It's fine. We'll take it. We're gonna win our parlays tomorrow. I hope you guys actually tail us for once.
No, hold on. Clemson is definitely beating Notre Dame.
Pause.
St. Armand's definitely throwing multiple interceptions. For context, when we were watching Thursday Night Football, me and Quentin, the Vikings playing the 49ers, every time I did that, the opposite thing happened. So I said, Kirk Cousins is definitely not throwing a touchdown. Dart. They're definitely not running for first down. And so I'm hoping to give you that same energy, and maybe you guys can win this one this weekend. But
I am praying, man. It's going to be a tough one. I'm excited, though. This game is turning into a rivalry.
let's text about sports all weekend.
Let's go.
Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week
Yes,
for episode
sir.
3.